Good evening. True Spoon, you're on mute.
Yeah. I was just thinking how everything's gone right, that all the 5 destinations are broadcasting perfectly well. And I'm on mute, and I was just like, yeah, I was getting that excited. I was like, I did a big greeting to the world, and I was on mute. So am I audible?
Oh, you're audible, perfectly loud and clear. How are you doing, man, on this lovely sunny evening?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah, it's been a very nice day, apart from the fact that I'm in a mad staffing crisis at work. But yeah, apart from that, it's been pretty cool today. Haringey Council haven't picked up my sofa, so I've got a sofa outside my house still because they're fools. But on the plus side, I've got a brand new sofa inside my house.
How's your old sofa?
Sorry?
So far, so good, huh?
So yeah, they just need to come and pick it up because I don't like having a sofa just stood outside my house like
someone take it, man. I mean, I was talking the other day to because you find some really cool stuff being dumped. I mean, I'm not a tramp. I mean, but you do.
Disclaimer.
I mean, if you go, you can get it free on Facebook Marketplace. Like me and my friends, we got like this Laura Ashley sofa, and I don't think it had any wine stains on it while we had it. It's like worth $1,000, and we got it for nothing. We just had to lug it like a mile from southwest London to another place,
Well, I'm suspecting that might happen eventually in mine because they were supposed to pick it up on Wednesday, so I lugged it outside on Tuesday evening and stuck it out front, and then nobody turned up, and I've paid them 20 quid to pick it up, so they better pick it up.
Well, I mean, what state is it in?
It's not. Oh no, it's like it's not a usable state. That's why I'm rid of it. Yeah, it's called sunken and fucked up. It's at least 5 years old. I mean, it was here when I got here, and I've been here 5 years, so it's at least 5 years old.
I was thinking, like, you could literally, like, if you were a white van man, you could drive around. The best places tend to be the council estates in London, where around the communal bins. I know this sounds fucking gross, but it isn't.
It's reality.
You get some quality stuff because, I mean, we live in a wasteful society, and people are always throwing decent stuff away, and they don't want the hassle of going to Facebook Marketplace or something, just so someone can come to their house and check out how much valuables they've got and then rob them. But
it was great.
Most people don't want that trouble, so they just dump it, and because councils, the states have got such a concentrated dwelling, so many people live in there. There's so much good stuff on a weekly basis that gets lobbed out, and it's pretty good stuff. I mean, my standards are not highest, but all the same, no visible stains, no smells, and no discoloration. I'm in, man. I'll take it. If you're white man, you could just pile it full of stuff.
It's crazy how fast
sell it on eBay or something, or do a car boot or something,
One time when I got rid of my old producer chair, I was in a different place. It was a slightly more busy sort of like sidewalk that I was on, but not too much more busy than where I am now. But anyway, I literally put the chair outside. I went back inside, went and had a wee, came back out, and it had gone already. It literally went within.
I think a white van man had it, man. It's going to be winging its way to a car boot sale in the provinces, as we speak, right?
I just couldn't believe it. I just looked out the window as soon as I come back out, and I was just like, "It's gone already. What the fuck?" It was mad, but yeah, there we go. So the system does work for sure.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I mean, Arsenal did all right, didn't they? They're 1-1 away in Madrid, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good result in the end. It's a bit shaky at points, but I mean, look, we take a draw. That's, I thought we were going to lose the game, but so I'm happy enough with the draw. And then obviously we take it back to the Emirates and and we see how that goes. But we need to
You got the
score.
aggregate now. I mean, so if it's on a 0-0, you would win. I'm not saying you would, but
No, because away goals don't count anymore.
oh, is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, what a shame, because that was an intriguing little subplot. I always liked the aggregate goal, you know, the winning on aggregate. Because when did they implement that then?
This was from the season before last, so it's quite recent. They
that's
claim
kind
that
of
error or whatever, but I feel like it was a good system because you're away from home. It's more difficult,
definitely, yeah,
and it encourages teams to score. It encourages attacking play.
Yeah, right. Because you might think you might be like defensive going away. You might be playing defensive, but as you say, it encourages you to, because the goal is more valuable away. So they're going to try and get that goal, right? Yeah, cool. Right. Well, that's too bad, man.
So now I'm worried. But what worries me now, though, because the teams were very evenly matched, and if we have the same game over at the Emirates next Tuesday, it's going to be potentially a penalty shootout, which I don't know if I can. My heart will take a penalty shootout in the semi-final of a Champions League. Probably the biggest penalty shootout of my life I've seen Arsenal in. I don't think.
You're predicting a penalty shootout, are you?
I'm not predicting it, but like I'm worried about it. Let's put it that way, because I can see another draw.
Well, you can hedge your bets and put some money on it, so that if it does come to that, you know, that unfortunate.
That's maybe a good idea, actually. Yeah.
You at least get something back out of it, you know.
Yeah, I might do that. Yeah, because you can actually predict. You can actually bet on it being a penalty shootout. You don't necessarily have to predict the winner, so you can actually predict on it going to penalties. So
that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's an idea that might just sort of like offset any sort of like. It's still going to be painful. Hopefully not though. Hopefully we can do a nice little 1-0 or something like that at home. But yeah.
So yeah, all the other. The Premiership starts late, doesn't it? So they're finishing later than the other leagues.
Yeah, it finishes just a couple of games after the Championship.
4 games left or so, isn't it?
We've got 5 left, or 4 or 5, yeah, something like that. I think it's 5.
You're about 3 points clear, are you?
Yeah, but they've got.
They're catching up, aren't they, man?
Well, they caught up. We were second last week. I mean, 3 weeks ago, we were in the final of the Carabao Cup. We were in the FA Cup quarterfinal, and we were 9 points ahead in the league. Now, 4 weeks ago. So now 4 weeks later, we've lost that cup final. We've gone out the quarterfinal of the FA Cup, and we've lost our 9-point lead. So it's been a little bit of a collapse.
Oh, we're still on for the double. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, we're still
away with double.
We need to score some goals, though, because we don't score goals. We don't score many goals. We haven't scored more than we've scored like 2 open play goals in the last 8 games. 2. That's dodgy form going into the end of the season when you need wins. So we're kind of limping over the line a bit here. But if we do it, I don't care. Look, if we just win 1-0 for the rest of the season and play shit, but we win the league, I'm not fucking complaining. No way.
Spurs not doing too well, are they?
And the cherry on the icing would be if
he's had a terrible year. For Spurs, what a disaster. Do you hate Spurs?
Oh, I mean, I'm not one of the. I see Arsenal fans saying, "Oh, I don't want them to go down." It's like, no. I want them to go down. Fuck them. Send them down. Like the amount of the way they last season, was it last season? Yeah, last season they wanted vocally and like online and everything. They were saying that they wanted to lose to Man City, so Man City could beat us to the title. But losing to Man City would have meant they missed out on the Champions League. Right, that's how warped they are. So I think they deserve zero sympathy, simply for wanting their team to lose. So
are they not one of those teams that's never been out of the Premiership? Is that?
No, they have. Yeah. Oh, the Premiership. Well, since the Premier League started, they haven't been relegated from the Premier League. No, but I mean, in terms of the top division, they've definitely been relegated a few times.
Yeah, they're a relegation battle for the Spurs. What a disaster! Yeah,
the cherry on the icing it would be if we could win a title and they go down in the same season. It would be quite beautiful.
Oh, really?
No more banter, because obviously I'm in Tottenham area, so I've had some stick over the years for, Arsenal always finishing second, never winning anything, blah, blah, blah. They can't say anything if they go down. Nothing. You've got nothing on me. Nothing at all. I'd be very pleased.
What about Chelsea? How do you feel about Chelsea?
Chelsea are going down the same route that we've been down for the past few years. If they're not careful, they're just messing around. They're just, I don't know, man. They got an owner who doesn't know what the hell he's doing, just chucking money at everything, and it's not working out. And they're becoming a bit of a banter club as well. But yeah, the whole league this season is just not being good standard. It's just people are kind of conflating it with it being very high standard, which is bizarre. It's like, no, you watch the games. The games are there's like one or two teams who've improved, like Brentford, Bournemouth. But apart from those two, everyone's dropped significant levels. And yeah, it's been a bit of a shit league, to be honest with you. But again, if we win it, don't care. I've waited half my life for another Premier League title. I was 20 the last time Arsenal won a Premier League. So it's been a long wait. So just get it over the line. I don't like our manager. I don't like our style of play. But if you just get it over the line.
Yeah, but you say that, but it's paying off, isn't it? Something's working.
To a point, but he's proved repeatedly that he can't deal with big pressure situations because he's never won anything. So we see what happens. We see what happens the next few games. It's his chance to prove himself finally.
Semi-finals in too bad the Champions League, is it? That's where they're at.
But at the end of the day, you do eventually have to win something. I mean, like he's the fourth highest paid manager in world football, and for that kind of wage, you do actually have to win something at some point. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. And half our players are on like 200k plus a week, so you're kind of supposed to win something at some point. So
have they spent a lot then? Have they been investing in players? Because that's one thing that Spurs don't do, isn't it? So they say that.
So, I mean, in summer we spent about 300 million. I mean, Arteta himself, since he came in, has had 1.3 billion to spend. He spent 1.3 billion on players. So again, for that kind of expenditure, you're expecting some kind of return beyond just challenging and competing and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, you're expecting a bit more at some point. Hopefully it's going to be this season.
So yeah, what have you been looking at then? You've been looking at anything for the show? I think we mentioned. I think did we talk a few weeks ago about the recent UFO researchers' deaths?
Yeah, the missing scientists. Some of these people who are due to do either give testimonies or to give speeches and stuff like that. You know, and it goes back a few years, doesn't it? It started around like 2022. I think the first one that's cited in this sort of list is June 11th, 2022. A physicist, a plasma physicist called Amy Exkridge, who'd been studying anti-gravity technology. And she's just, as is the same with a lot of these stories, she said to her friends that if she dies by suicide, it wouldn't be true. And yet she was found. I can't remember. It doesn't tell me. I can't remember exactly how she was allegedly suicided. How allegedly she committed suicide. Sorry, but it was recorded as death by suicide, despite the fact that a bit earlier she had said, "I will not, commit suicide." So, and this seems to be a pattern. I'm sure you've seen yourself. There's this kind of pattern throughout a lot of these cases, and the people who are still alive and still in hiding are all saying the same thing. So it's very bizarre. And
so yeah, her official cause of death was a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Was that Amy Exkridge?
Amy Exkridge, yeah, that was that was 2022, but it was a few years ago. But because of all these other more recent deaths and disappearances, sort of shone the spotlight on that one.
Well, yeah, I mean, basically, there's been a kind of cluster over the past 12 months, starting around, I think it was May the 8th, with Anthony Chavez. I think he's one that remains missing, actually.
I think that what's his name? The general. I think we mentioned the general McCaslin, right? Who went off for a walk without his glasses?
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I remember the story. Yeah. When was that then? Which year was? Oh, McCaslin was 2020.
About a month ago.
Yeah, that's it. February 26th. Did he get found then? He didn't get found, did he? Or
no, I think he's still missing. Yeah, but he's not the only one. There was another one. Another researcher disappeared.
Yeah, because he was apparently overseeing sort of classified weapons programs and was head of the research facility rumored to be housing the debris from the Roswell incident. So, yeah.
Well, that's weird because that Roswell thing was the biggest. Well, I mean, the so-called autopsy. Did you ever see the Roswell alien autopsy?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That was so fake, though. I mean, that was.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I don't know. Was that officially? No, that wasn't an official release by the government, was it? That was.
I can't remember what program I saw that on, but it would have been on something like Channel 4, I'd imagine. Or would it be on Sky? Maybe it's something on Sky. I can't quite remember what I saw it on, to be honest. But yeah, I think that, well, I mean, obviously that it just looked proper fake, didn't it? Like the alien lying there. And
Well, there was all those suspicious like cuts in the video because they perform an autopsy on this so-called alien. But there's a scene where they put the sort of the scalpel, and then there's a cut, there's a jump in the jump cut, and then the body is opened. So it's like, well, it's obviously, you've obviously got a different model for the internal organs or whatever. It's just so fake. It's not continuous video, so it makes you suspicious. Yeah.
Yeah. They've obviously just got like a little thing that they've made, and then they've not housed the organs inside it. They then got a second open example sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, if they'd have been a bit cleverer about it, I mean, I'm sure they would have been able to fabricate that. You could have created like
it's literally fabricated. I've just grokked it. I've grokked it, and
super grokked it.
I've super grokked it, and it was released by British video entrepreneur Ray Santili. And it was presented at the time as genuine footage, and people were all talking about it on the forums. And I think I was one of a few people who pointed out that, well, if it was fake, then there'd have to be a cut because they wouldn't actually the model of the alien, presumably that they made, they wouldn't have made it with internal organs. It would be like, impossible to do. So that's So,
but could they not have done something like that? I mean, like the footage was grainy. It was 1995.
Supposedly it's from 1947. That was the idea.
No, but I mean, the in terms of like having the ability to make a convincing model, you would have thought in the mid-90s they would have been able to do something a bit better than that. They wouldn't have needed to do the cut. I mean, like they could have got people who've worked on movies before. I'm sure they could have done something.
But it's all revealed now. Apparently, it was shot in a flat
apartment in Camden. I didn't know that. I did not know that. It was shot in Camden. That's mad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's all fake. Yeah. So it makes you wonder, though. I mean, that's what gets me suspicious about the aliens' agenda is that there's so much the fake stuff. And it's like it wouldn't be a double bluff. It wouldn't be like that they create fake alien stuff to hide the real thing. I don't think it'd be that. There's that much complication involved. There's that much psychology around it. I always just feel that there's a lot of people who are deliberately pushing a fake alien agenda. What I would consider a fake alien agenda.
I think also with that sort of thing, it could be just for views, just like people do nowadays with YouTube or whatever. They could have just been doing it for the views to get a bit of fame or infamy or fame, whatever you want to put it as. So it could be like that. I don't know Santili and Shoefield's connections. I don't know whether they could have been connected to people in the government or whoever who might want to push a kind of fake narrative. So I'm not too sure on that one. But
apparently Santili claims it was a reconstruction based on real film that he saw, right?
Well, you could say that about anything, can't you? Yeah. So it's just. But did they market it as a reconstruction, or was that like?
No, mate. It wasn't at the time. It was marketed as. Was it in the 90s? When was it out? Because I remember seeing it on David Icke forums and everything, and it was taken as real. It was taken as on face value. It wasn't. It hadn't been thoroughly debunked. Only people said, "Oh, that's fake." I think that's fake, but no one had admitted at the time.
I think even as an 11-year-old at the time, as I was, I mean, I wasn't really fooled by that. I remember thinking at the time, "Oh, this is obviously not real." It's a bit jarring at first when you see the initial image of the alien, but then as it goes on, you realize pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was pretty creeped at the time. I kind of took it at face value and thought, "Wow." But then as I watched it, and I thought, you know, the sort of critical faculty kicked in, and I thought, what if it's bullshit? You know.
Yeah, you know, you wanted it to be real. I mean, I was someone who, one of my most prized possessions when I was a kid was the X-Files Book of the Unexplained. I remember when I got that for Christmas and opening it up as a present. And, you know, we're talking about back in the times when you had no YouTube, you had no internet really. I mean, I think we had dial-up probably when I got, oh no, did we? I don't think we even had the internet when I got that book, to be honest with you. So you didn't have the access to information that people have now. And there's a certain, it added a certain kind of like value, like that scarcity adds a bit of value, doesn't it? Like, you know, you can go online now, you can Google UFOs, you can Google unexplained stories, and you can find a plethora of them left, right, and center. But back in those days, things like that were very hard to come by. So the X-Files Book of the Unexplained was just like a collection of different stories about whether it's UFOs, conspiracies of whichever kind. And it was great because there was nothing really like that. You know, yeah, you had the X-Files as a program and stuff, but you didn't have, you know, these days you've got all kinds of podcasts where you can, you know, see people talking about this stuff. We're doing one right now. You just didn't have that back then, and it just made it a bit more magical when you got something like that. And it's a shame in a way that that's been lost. But also on the flip side, it's so great to have access to so much more info. So it's like,
yeah, well, there's more discussion about it now, isn't there? I mean, I grew up with Arthur C. Clarke. I mean, not literally, because he's a bit of a wrong un, but Arthur C. Clarke, famously 2001 and all that. But he used to have a TV program called Arthur C. Clarke's World of Strange Powers. And he'd sort of do these parapsychological investigations. And I remember we used to have PG tips. Other tea bags are available. And they used to use cigarette cards, what they called fag cards. And you'd send off for the booklet, and you'd put your each pack of tea, depending on how many tea bags, you'd have 1, 2, or more cards. And they had some kind of mystery. One of them was like the crystal skull of the Aztecs. One of them was Stonehenge, and then the Bermuda Triangle. All those kind of mysterious things that, you know, sort of fascinated me as a kid. Of course, most of them are kind of perfectly explainable. I mean, there aren't really, you know, as for true mysteries, you know, aliens and such. It's kind of depressingly easy to debunk things, and I wish it wasn't. You know, I mean, I spent, you know, I mean, I know we kind of met on the Ike forum, and I know unfortunately, I spent most of my time having to debunk things, because the thing is, if Winston Churchill said the truth is so precious it needs a bodyguard of lies. So, you know, in the internet medium, there's all this disinformation. So if there is a true story that comes out with something, you know, revelatory, then immediately there's like a pile of bullshit to try and obfuscate the truth and hide it in disinformation. So I always found on the Ag Forum, I was always trying to snap people out of their bullshit. You know, that they always get, there was always, I mean, this is a weird one. Do you remember the 2012? Do you remember David Wilcock?
The name rings a bell.
David Wilcock's 2012 Ascension. He was this New Age guru, and he believed he was a reincarnation of Edward Casey, who was this kind of the so-called sleeping prophet. And he was a weird sort of big-headed, goblin-looking guy. But he was surprisingly big in California and in the New Age movement. And this was back on the Ag Forum. He was sort of saying in 2012, this was the Mayan calendar.
Yeah.
We would ascend because there'd be like a galactic alignment, and the energy from the galactic core would reach the earth and all this bullshit. Do you remember any of that?
I vaguely remember. I know his name. I've just done a little Google search. I recognize his face. You're right. He does have a big fucking head, doesn't he? But yeah, I vaguely remember this. I don't think I delved too deeply into this. So what actually happened to him then? Is he still around?
He's going to share. Well, this is funny you mention this because he's dead now. He recently, he's another one of these dead UFO people, right? I mean, this is the guy. Can you see that?
This is why I recognize his name, because he was coming up on some X posts recently. Yes, fucking hell. That's why I recognize.
He was so fucking annoying. I mean, he presented himself well. I mean, he was a good grift. He was a good grifter, but everything he said was sheer twaddle. And he was part of this sort of New Age California movement and he was saying that in 2012 humanity will be able to fly because we'll have ascended to sort of be angels and we'll be able to fly around the place. And people in the Ike Forum were like buying it. So this is bullshit. This is fucking bullshit. In 2012, nothing's going to happen. And it's just, but people are grabbing onto something. It's like the flat Earth thing. I know we talked about that before, but people they're invested into it, and they wrap their ego up in their beliefs, and they don't want to be challenged on. So flat Earth is the latest thing. But back in the day, it was New Age 2012 Ascension. This is the guy. This is when he was young. This was him. And now, of course, he's dead. But I can't believe it because I was thinking about him the other day, and I thought, well, what's that old grifter doing? And he's still on a grift. He reckoned that now that the ascension has been delayed to 2030. But I mean, obviously, apparently he killed himself. It's pretty. It's obviously tragic. It's terrible. But he's been added to the pile of dead UFO blokes, right? And so that's it. He's gone. I mean, I was pretty surprised. I was like, flipping heck. I remember having to deal with his bullshit on the Ike Forum and trying to say, "Snap, it's bullshit. It's sheer bullshit. Why do you believe that we're going to be able to fly on the 21st of December? What motor of reaction and how is that going to manifest? Oh, the galactic core. What bollocks? It's just bullshit."
Yeah, I mean, the Ike Forum you had to sift through a lot of bullshit to get to the kind of like gems, didn't you? I mean, I like going on there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to like sort of badmouth it like that, but there was a lot of bullshit on there, and you had to kind of like, yeah, you had to be a little bit careful. 1 second, sorry. You had to be a little bit careful with some of the stuff on there. But yeah, I mean, wasn't he? What was he doing? Oh, by the way, they always say this, don't they? When they get their predictions wrong, there's always a delay. There's like, oh no, it's been delayed by another 5 years. And it's like, come on, can't you people see through this? But wasn't he doing something else? Wasn't he about to give some kind of talk or something like this? I can't remember what it was. Let's try to look it up.
Well, this is pretty weird. This kind of comes on. Oh, hang on, I've just lost that. Hang on, I'll try and get that back. Why is it gone? Yeah, sorry. It's not sharing. Yeah. Is it sharing? Can you see that?
No, I can only see an enlarged view.
Oh, okay.
Which one are you trying to share? Just one of the scenes here. Because you wanted. Hang on.
Let me try again. Anyway, listen, I'll just read out this stuff. David Wilcock was a prominent New Age conspiracy researcher, heavily promoted to 2012 as the focal point of a major global ascension or consciousness shift. He tied this to the end of the Mayan long count calendar. Do you remember that Mayan long count? That was another thing.
Listen, my mum was actually telling me about this stuff in the 90s, which is very bizarre. And she used to say to me the same thing. She used to always say, the world as we know it will cease to exist. And she used to keep saying this. And my mum's not like a superstitious. She's not really that type of person to get into this stuff. I'm going to have to ask her about this next time I see her because I can't remember where she was picking all this stuff up from. Because remember, this is somebody who definitely never went on the internet. She didn't really watch that kind of thing on TV. So thinking about it, I have no idea where she was picking this up from. But that was drilled into me from a young age about this bloody Mayan calendar, that the world as we know it would change. It wasn't like the world was going to end, but it was going to change in some way. And for years before it became quite prominent in the public eye, leading up to 2012 especially, my mum was already telling me about this stuff. But it's just so bizarre because she's just not into that kind of thing generally. This is a bit weird.
But it's weird when the normies latch onto something, they somehow get convinced of something, and the normies are I'm not saying your mum's a normie.
No, I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean, right? Yeah.
You swine.
They're the hardest ones to dissuade from a delusion because they latch onto something.
Like with flat Earth, isn't it? I mean, a lot of the time it's people who respectfully or disrespectfully, whatever, but it's like a lot of the time it's people who just don't really have anything else in their lives, so they kind of have to latch on to something like this and be a part of something. It's like a group, isn't it? It's like a religion in a way that it gives them meaning to be part of something like that.
Well, I went to, I think I mentioned Alistair Williams, that the Brexit Burger King guy, comedian. I went to one of his shows in London, and afterwards they all go to the pub. A few people go to the pub and have a few drinks, and Alistair was there and stuff. and I got talking to this flat Earth guy.
Oh God.
I know, and they've got all their sort of lines of debate and arguments all lined up, and they'll sort of, one of his things was, about the center of the Earth and how can it be, an iron core and all this, and he was talking about magnetic fields, and I sort of explained, well, it won't be solid iron. He was trying to make out it was solid iron. It'd be a iron plasma under pressure and stuff, so it would have a, regenerated magnetic field, all this kind of stuff. And I was trying to debate every point he would raise about. I mean, I can't even remember what his points were because they're not worth remembering. The flat earthers' points of argument, they're just banal and stupid. And But every time I refuted him, he would just come out something else. And then finally, he just sort of said, "Well, I'm not talking to you anymore. You're obviously," and then they would call me, "Oh, you're obviously a denier. You're a denier. You're a debunker." I said, "No, mate. I'm in good faith. I mean, you might be right for all I know, but I'm just you've posited these ideas, and I'm just saying why it's not correct."
But he probably
they would just sort of refuge in. They would stop. It's like a religious indoctrination. They won't talk to you anymore. They will disengage and say, "Yeah, I'm not talking to you anymore." Literally, that's what happened.
He rattled his brain. You made him question himself. Probably. I mean, like he probably doesn't talk to that many people who've got because obviously you've got quite a very sort of vast knowledge of the way things work in the universe and stuff, and it's like. He probably doesn't talk to many people like you who could really kind of like hold him to task because he's got, like you say, you'll pivot. They'll pivot to this, pivot to that. So he's probably used to maybe like having someone sort of like debate him on one or two things. But he's probably not used to someone shutting him down each time he brings up a different pivot, each time he goes to a new thing. So you probably just rattled his brain and he's just like questioning his very existence.
Well, that's the thing. Most people don't necessarily know what the center of, I don't know what the center of the Earth is. There might be dinosaurs in there for all I know, but most people don't actually have the kind of, because it doesn't really feature in their day-to-day life of understanding plasma, iron as a plasma in the center of the Earth or whatever. So these guys will say something and people won't have an answer. So they have to acquiesce, don't they? That's kind of it's kind of like a mental conditioning. It's like a semantic trick. If you say something that someone doesn't know the answer to, they have to say, yeah, okay, yeah, all right, go on.
And it's frustrating.
And the more you do that, the more they've acquiesced, and they sort of tacitly believe what you're saying because they've relaxed the defenses because they are defenseless because they can't argue back. I think that's how
Well, yeah, basically, I was just about to say it can be quite frustrating when you don't have all the necessary scientific knowledge and they make a point and you kind of know it's wrong. Like, inherently that it's wrong, but you don't necessarily, or like someone like me may not necessarily have all the requisite scientific knowledge to out-argue each point. So it's like, I know you're wrong, but unfortunately I can't fucking out-argue it because I don't know exactly.
Yeah, that's just it, isn't it? But you can't really say, I know you're wrong, but I can't tell you why. And that's, that kind of, that isn't an argument though, is it? So that's kind of,
this is the thing. That's why I just don't entertain them in the first place. They've always got an answer. You probably, like you just described, they've always got an answer. They've always got a pivot. And if anything else, they can just go, space is fake. The images from NASA are fake or whatever. Well, I said, I was just going to say, like, what I want someone to do, and I don't know why no one's done this yet, because there's plenty of millionaires and billionaires who cuss out flat earthers who could do this. Why do they not just pack a load of the most prominent flat earthers into like
they did that. No, they did. They did that. They took flat earthers to Antarctica. I think we mentioned that on one of the shows, didn't we?
Yes, they did. They did do that, and they changed their minds, didn't they? Because they saw the sun. They saw the motion.
Because he's expecting to see the ice wall and all this stuff. Yeah.
But it would be such great if you want views. Stick a load of people in either a Bezos rocket or a Elon Musk rocket. Send them up, film them as they go up into low orbit and see for themselves. I don't know why someone doesn't do that. If I could afford to, I would 100% do that. It'd be fucking hilarious.
Well, that's, as I was saying before, that the thing is the bodyguard of lies to obfuscate the truth. That's what the flat earth thing is. It's because NASA's lied about the moon landings, they didn't happen, and in any way, I don't believe they happened.
So do you think
There's
then
lots
that
of evidence for that. I'm not going to go into it on this show, but there's lots of videos available. There's two primary sources. A funny thing happened on the way to the moon, and another video, you can get it on YouTube. I think it's only a paper moon. Really, really detailed analysis of everything: the gravity, the fake gravity, the special effects, the wires that are visible glinting in studio lights, all of that stuff. And because people were suspicious of NASA and the moon landings, they had to sort of roll out this flat Earth thing, which therefore discredits anyone talking about NASA and fake moon landings, because you're not a flat earther, are you? So that it's that kind of association, isn't it? The normie mind will put you in that. You don't believe NASA. Don't tell me you're a flat earther. You know what I mean? It's like that binary thinking that everyone's like cursed with.
So do you
if
think
you're not this, you must be this.
Do you think that I think it was India, was it China, sent up a rocket and it took a picture, allegedly took a picture of the moon lander? So do you think that is not real? I'm trying to think when it was.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those. Yeah.
Because that seemed to be, is it Chandrayaan-2 photo of Apollo 11 and 12 landing sites, and it appears to show the lander, but obviously that could be fake. I'm not, it could easily be fake. So
it's too easily be fake. So why trust? Why have that assumption of trusting? Because we do, as humans, we actually are not, because we're used to living in a civilized society. We have this sort of trust society as we can't, most people, because you can't go through life being suspicious of everyone, because it'll affect your friendships and it'll make things difficult. So you do have a sort of, fundamentally, you take people, what they say at face value, and you believe people. I mean, you don't, when someone's talking to you, you don't think he's lying. You accept what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So in the same way, we especially if it comes from a source of authority like NASA and the government and such, we tend to subconsciously believe it, because the alternative to distrust everything that they say, it kind of puts you in a difficult situation. It puts you outside of society and outside of reality itself, which is where I am. But it can be, for most people, they don't want to be there. They want to be in the consensual illusion that everything is kind of going along to some plan or something, or we can trust the government. I think we're learning in the UK that no longer is the case.
Oh Christ, yeah, we're learning the hard way.
It's becoming more unclear every day, isn't it? Really, that our government is out to get us.
I mean, it is quite astonishing. Not that we necessarily want to go too far down this road in this show, but
absolutely not. No, I want to focus on this UFO stuff. So yeah,
it is just. I was just going to quickly say it is quite astonishing how we somehow managed to make things worse by voting in Labour. It's just like, anyway, yeah, it was quite bad before then, but I mean, it makes you want like the old Conservatives back. Do you know what I mean? At least it wouldn't be this bad. There we go.
Well, yeah, the 80s and all that, the 80s and 90s.
90s was peak Britain, I think.
They were just sleazy with the politicians, weren't they? The biggest problem we had was unemployment, really, wasn't it? And I suppose shutting down British industry. But I suppose that's all part of the, it's what they call the totalitarian tiptoe. Everything, when put together, it's clear that how you got to the present state in society, because everything that's happened before has led up to this. But in the 80s and 90s, these things happening in isolation, you didn't realize that they were probably forming part of the ongoing long-term agenda.
Yeah, I know. This is kind of why I say, like, Britain was kind of peak in the 90s, just in terms of culture. I know you mentioned about like quite high unemployment, and there was obviously things that weren't great, but I mean, like, so many people I've talked to who are kind of like mid-20s to late 20s, it's really consistent. They cite the 90s. They go, I would love to have grown up in the 90s. And then I can kind of tell them what it's like. And just from a sort of like more of a cultural perspective, there was a lot of really great things about the 90s, which I think have been kind of like transmuted, transmogrified, whatever the word is. It's just just not the same anymore, just been diluted, whether it's music, movies, other
But you
aspects.
wonder if we were being softened up in that time. It's like, all that Britpop indie music, which I used to love, right? But your bands like Suede, which I liked Suede, and I liked all that indie music. But it was all kind of like, you could say it was like feminizing men, it was like making men, more gender fluid and all that, making them less like naturally, not naturally aggressive, but putting men in a different sort of mental space, sort of lulling them with foppish pop stars and prioritizing, not thinking about society, thinking hedonism and all that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had a great time, but you wonder if, like the 60s, if it was just part of the Tavistock Institute and all that, it was all a psychological operation on softening up, the British male, making them a bit sort of softer and a bit foppish, What do you think?
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. I mean, it definitely was. I mean, like, if you look at some of the bands, you look at 60s is another good example of the way that, the sort of stripping of masculinity, like, there was a lot of the bands that we're talking about. But the thing, you had a kind of contrast, I suppose, there with bands like Oasis and Blur. It was still a bit more sort of masculine energy in that. But
I think so.
I never really thought about it like that. Sorry, it's just it's definitely true. That was kind of like maybe the sort of seminal embryo of like a subtle feminization of men.
And now they don't need that anymore. We don't have the music anymore because it sort of served its cultural purpose, and then it rolls on to the next part of the agenda, the social conditioning. I mean, if I can think of that, if I can think that could be what they're doing, and obviously I'm not the only person who's thought that, then obviously they're probably doing it because it's something that would benefit a group of people who wanted to control the British male, right? Why wouldn't they do it if they could do it? And the evidence is that it did happen. It probably was deliberate.
Look, if you're funding
all of these, these gender confused young men. I mean, don't get me wrong. A lot of them, it was all good stuff. They were talented, but what was the social effect on the male? And is it sort of made us now, some of us anyway, less sort of perhaps react less aggressively to some of the terrible crimes that we see?
Yeah, exactly.
Look, our people,
if you're trying to control a society as much as you can, you obviously want to concentrate on the male side of things because they're the most reactive. They're the ones who are most likely to start a revolution. Let's face it, respectfully, it's not. I mean, obviously you had the suffragettes at one point, but typically speaking, you're looking at the men to start the revolution, to start a fight back. And so obviously, if you want to control a society, one of the most efficient ways of doing it is to strip away that masculinity. And we have seen that, especially over the last sort of like 10, 15 years or so. Well, pretty much.
I mean, you're a big football fan, aren't you? So, I mean, football in the 80s, of course, the game was rough, wasn't it?
Yeah, the third.
I think over the years, you could probably make a case that football has been feminized, maybe. I don't know. What do you think?
A little bit. I mean, it is definitely not so much. I mean, it's certainly not a working man's game anymore. I mean, especially the top leagues. I mean, okay, cool when you get down to, your lower leagues, or you go and watch Grimsby or someone like that. It's like, it's still a bit of a working class thing. But that used to be the same for your Arsenals and Man Uniteds, and now it's just not that at all. It's more of a family affair. And those are the most popular clubs, and that's the most people. So there's all these different ways. They do this as well through the way they kind of like do the PR in football as well. It's all very kind of softly. It's all this kind of like taking part, participation trophy type stuff now.
Yeah.
So we've kind of like diluted the competitiveness, or the kind of like sort of desire to win, or the kind of, what can I say, importance of winning. It's all become more about, oh, well, we were just competing, we're just taking part, and you get a pat on the back for just, putting your boots on and, getting out there and putting in a bit of effort. Whereas, it's just kind of...
My problem with football, though, is that if the men put the energy into supporting a football team and all that, I mean, I'm not having a go, but, as a cultural movement across the country, the amount of time and attention that blokes put into football, if they put that into protecting their communities, or
Oh yeah.
being more politically engaged, voting maybe as well. It would be they wouldn't be able to, f around with
Oh,
us the way they do.
100%, yeah. And that goes for all sports as well, 100%,
So
rugby
are
and
they distractions? Is that what they are?
100 yeah,
Are
yeah.
they channeling that tribal energy into a futile, into a futile 90 minutes of watching a bloody plastic ball bounce around
Yeah, I
with
think that's
11
why it's so prominent.
two
That's
lots
why
of 11 overpaid ponces, prancing around the place. I'm not having a go. All right, I know you like football, but I'm just
no, it's
what if,
just no, I completely agree that it's a
Yeah.
distraction. I completely agree that like those energies, if they were put to more political things, could provide better protection for our communities, especially the women in the communities, which these governments like to say that they're protective of. These governments like to say that we're looking out for women. We're
But
we're
if they
concerned.
do, they do, yeah.
Just look
Because you
what
see
they
that
do.
now you see that thing, the stabbing yesterday, was it
Yeah, Golders
the
Green.
Jews got
Yeah.
stabbed in Golders Green? See, that has immediately been classed as a terrorist event. But there's all when it's white people, when it's white girls, or I don't know why I'm laughing, but I'm like, it's just when it's one of these people who attacks a woman or girls, there's like this and ah, and the police haven't decided whether it's terror related yet. Oh, I
Or
don't
they
know.
won't release.
Or he's just insane. They usually say it's not thought to be terror related, but the guys are of a certain Middle Eastern religion. The girl is usually young white girls or whatever, or white shoppers being whatever. I know we're not going into this too much, but it just it sort of struck me that because it happened to the Jews in Golders Green, it is now when I've gone up to terror rating severe. It's a terror event. The government's going to do something, but meanwhile, when it's a white girls, we don't seem to have the same sort of preferred citizen status that certain people in society do. But anyway, I mean, I'm not going into a rant, but
Oh, listen, white girls have fallen down the hierarchy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It's a shame, but yeah. Well, anyway, listen, we'll have to leave that there, I suppose, because we could go on about that for.
I know, right? Yeah, I know. I don't want to get too. I was just David Woolcock. I mean, it's blew me away because, Alicia, I said, 20th of April was 10 days ago. He was prominent, highly controversial figure. Common scam criticisms, yeah. Unfulfilled predictions and prophecies. He made the claim about ascensions, mass arrests. He's one of those Q type people,
Yeah.
Although we are getting the arrests in America. James Comey, and that's pretty encouraging, isn't it? It's pretty good. Alien disclosure, economic research, all of this stuff. Nothing happened, and then he said, "Oh, it's been postponed to 2030." So yeah, that's. So
was he supposed to be giving some kind of talk or whatever? I don't really know.
I don't know, bro. I'm not sure.
Quite a few of these people were kind of on the verge of either sort of like doing interviews or giving evidence in trials or something like this.
Maybe you have a little try and Google it or something, grok it, maybe.
I was just like, when I was just looking at David Wilcox, for example, we're talking about like his history and stuff like this, like. You wonder why he would be, because he's a known, you kind of very much alluded to it yourself, like he was a known conspiracy theorist, like, yes, cult members took him seriously, but he's not like someone who's having like an impact on the wider culture on like a massive scale with his ideas. So my point is just, why would you disappear him? Why would you suicide him? What would be what are you preventing him from doing, really? Like, what danger was someone like that, really?
No, the only person who would do anything with someone like that would be someone who didn't research him and was thought he was a genuine UFO insider or connected to the Galactic Brotherhood or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's just. I was just reading here, like Wilcott was a significant figure of what's known as the Disclosure Movement. But I mean, we're coming up to. I mean, again, we've got prominent people like what's her name, Anna Luna, and people like this talking about quite openly.
I mean, Nora Luna, is it?
The politician Anna Paulina.
I don't know.
Is it Anna Paulina Luna?
Oh,
She's
I don't know.
Republican politician.
Yeah.
And yeah, she was on Joe Rogan talking about it. She was talking about the Book of Enoch and all this. And so she's talked about, yeah, well, you know, I know a lot of things that is going to come out once President Trump has decided what's going to be released and all this kind of stuff. So she's been very vocal about it. And then there's other people who've been vocal about it as well on Fox and, you know, actual like prominent news networks, CNN as well. So my point being, like, this isn't fringe stuff. There's like actual, you know, why would you choose this guy? You're already kind of openly talking about this stuff. So why would you suicide this guy? Which doesn't really make much sense.
So there's this pretty weird article here, which is kind of with the benefit of hindsight, this is pretty kind of spooky. People are disappearing, David Wilcock said, but he always took bollocks anyway. But he said he was grateful to be alive post UFO theorist death. 2 days before his reported death. That is just, that. I mean, that is just though, isn't it? I mean, even though I don't know. I mean, I did watch a recent Wilcock video where he'd lost a lot of weight, and he was complaining that he couldn't afford food, and the stores around him he couldn't get steak because it was $12 for 2 steaks and this, and that was just he was just grifting. He was just, I mean, people
you
like
don't
that
need to buy steak. I mean.
People have followed them for years and years, and they can't wake up to themselves and realize they were scammed. So is that kind of like, what is it? Kind of synergistic relationship between the scammer and the person they're scamming, that they both need each other. Right, the person who's been scammed doesn't want to think they've been scammed, so they'll kind of like, you know, plaster over the thought that, you know, feelings that they've been deceived, and they'll you know, always sort of kind of justify it. So this is interesting though. Opened up about how grateful he is to be alive. I mean, I see this as him just muscling in and trying to get his face somewhere. I mean, listen, he's dead. I mean, I don't want to speak too badly of him, but all of my life, well, at least my sort of, since I've been researching into this stuff, I've always thought he was so bullshitter, absolute bullshit. And the thing is, that 2012 thing was a psyop, a psychological operation designed to sort of, just like I would say football and entertainment is, it's sort of, and also the Q thing. The theory is that the Q anonymous thing was to try and stop people having agency, the sense of personal agency and you know, volition, that they can just, everything's under control. So I'll QAnon, it's the mass arrests. The Galactic Brotherhood have got this. The aliens are coming to save us, and it's always something just to disempower people.
Well, his
not think they have to do anything. You know,
so a couple of points basically. Him talking about not having enough money, right? He's got 500, or he had 544,000 subscribers on YouTube. So bear in mind, my mate who's got 140k subscribers, who talks about football, makes about $8,000 a month doing that. Yeah, that's with 140. Yeah. So just, you know, times that by 4.
What was his views on his videos?
I was going to come to that. So funnily enough, his last video that he posted, which was 3 hours 33 minutes long, was David Wilcock Live Pathway to Peace. It's got a picture of Trump on the front, dressed as kind of like a religious figure. Streamed 10 days ago, last video, with 465,000 views.
That's enormous. That's bloody low. He's raking it in.
You can't be short of cash unless he's paying. Unless he's got loads of staff he's paying. I mean, like, he will have
claimed he had debts. Yeah, it's strange, isn't it?
544k, if he's monetized, which he will be, like, that's going to be like tens of thousands a month. That's looking at like 30k a month probably from that.
I wonder what the people who supported him and, you know, thinking about this. But yeah, I mean, listen, he could have been off, but I mean, the theory is he's a suicide. He was allegedly found dead. Mental health crisis. I mean, you wonder though, I mean, is it possible that he actually believed? Was he so deluded that he believed what he was saying? I mean, because he did present well. I mean, he did seem like, it didn't seem like, it seemed like he believed what he was saying at least, you know? But then if he was mentally ill, then all bets are off. Anything can happen, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he's like, I'm just skipping through his video that he's got here, and he's like, he's I've not got the sound on, obviously, but he does look kind of a little bit crazy.
Crazy, yeah. Well,
But
he's lost a lot of weight, and yeah,
he's
maybe
kind
he's
of got
just bang crazy.
he's almost a bit Hunter S. Thompson. He's got like a cigarette in his mouth. He's just like constantly talking. The cigarette's wobbling around everywhere, and he's kind of like shaking around everywhere.
Yeah, he does sound like he's losing it. Yeah,
Just
because I
looking
mean,
a
he's
bit
supposed to be one of these, new ages. You wouldn't think he'd be smoking for a start,
very bizarre. But there we go.
because he's got ascended consciousness, but he still needs a cigarette. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
got one throughout the video, or several throughout the 3 hours and 33 minutes.
Yeah, that is suspicious. Yeah, the whole freeze. Rumors of his death. He streamed live during live. He spoke about how much he appreciates being alive, especially after the enigmatic deaths of the UFO theories. Very weird stuff that he's joined into this dead UFO people list now. Oh, another one is Ancient Aliens contributor Nick Pope, which Ancient Aliens was another absolute bullshit program. Did you ever watch that?
Right, yeah, what a great program.
Total bullshit, wasn't it? It's like that was stuff I was debunking as well. It's not that I don't want to believe in aliens. I don't, there might be that, but the case I know for a fact that the things that they're saying are not alien, because I did a bit of research into some of the ancient Egyptian stuff and construction of the pyramids and the engravings on the walls of Abydos, and it's not in spaceships. It's not spaceships. I've looked into it all, and I rationally can, say that it isn't aliens in some of these instances. You know what I mean?
Yeah, do you know what? I didn't know Nick Pope was part of this as well.
Do you know Nick Pope? I've not heard of him before, to be honest.
You've not heard of, oh no, I remember him from just looking at it here. I'm trying to think, because he was involved in, I think, some of the X-Files, whether it was writing or producing some of the X-Files, I'm pretty sure. He was involved something to do with X-Files anyway. Oh dear. But no, I know the guy from years ago. Was it did he die of cancer or something, wasn't it? They were saying
Nick Pope.
Yeah.
Another one is Eric von Daniken. He died recently. And it's sort of, he's part of this, UFO disinformation agenda. He wrote The Chariots of the Gods. He was trying to make out that aliens, came to Earth and constructed Stonehenge and all these ancient buildings. But again, I read the book, and it's just bullshit. It's like, it's just not true. I can say, I can point out some of the errors. And he died, he was like born in 1930, so he died at 90. So he's like, not as if it's a suspicious death. But all the same, it is quite weird. A lot of these people pegging it at the same time.
Wait, hang on. So who are we talking about now?
Eric von Daniken, Chariots of the Gods.
Oh,
he's one of these, in the 50s, I think. He was one of these, 60s, actually. He's one of these people who started the idea of ancient aliens, UFOs, seeded humanity, built the ancient monuments, all that stuff, which you may or may not believe. I don't know, but
I don't know about building of ancient monuments. I feel like if I'm going to be forced to pick an answer, I would imagine, just in terms of probability, it's most likely that we were seeded in some way. I just think that that's what we would do if we had the capability to do, and I think that's probably just a sort of common thing that happens, whether it extends to religious texts or things to do with religion or monuments. I don't know, but just as a general rule, I would imagine, if you're going to say to me, do you believe, Rob, that we just sort of naturally evolved on Earth, or do you think it's more likely we were seeded? I would personally go with the seeded one. That's just my opinion.
So he says that the Egyptian pyramids, Stonehenge, the Maui statues of Easter Island, Nazca lines in Peru, because those Nazca lines you can only see them from. You can only observe them from high above at altitude. The Nazca lines. You seen that one?
Yeah. Well, we did a bit of a show on them, didn't we?
We did, didn't we? And we were saying that I found this bit of research that suggested it could be an initiation, and that they used balloons, which is a kind of crazy ass idea. But the thing is also with the Maui statues of Easter Island. If you want to, it's alien. Can you say it's aliens? But the thing is, there's a human element to it, because there used to be trees on that island, and now it's barren of trees because they use trees to construct these having rollers to roll the stones around and all that business.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, if it was aliens, would they need to use trees if they had? It's always these things where you think, well, there's human steps and there's human signs of
footprint
phenomenon. It's like when you see these massive mega stones of like Baalbek, like 400-ton blocks that they say, oh, only aliens could lift that. But then you can go to the quarries and you can see the chisel marks and you can see the stone that they left behind because it was broken. Aliens wouldn't need chisels, wouldn't need copper chisels, would they? They wouldn't need it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So fully. It's just debunking, and you realise, well, no, there's no evidence actually that there were any alien involvement in any of these things, in my opinion. And in reality, I have to say.
Yeah. In terms of like the sort of monuments and sort of structures, for sure. I mean, it's dubious to say the least. But just when you look in the terms of like the structure of a cell, when I don't know if you saw it recently. There was one of the most like in-depth, zoomed in videos there's ever been of a cell, and it's like super complicated looking, and you sort of see this sort of thing and you think there's got to be an intelligent design to that, surely. That's what it seems more likely to me than that just kind of like developed over time. Listen, I might be wrong. It's just a probability thing in my mind.
This is so it's pretty sad that David Wilcox, it seems he was experiencing a mental health crisis. So I mean, I would say that's one of the dangers of being of promulgating delusions and nonsense, is that you become prey to unreality yourself. If you're not dealing with reality, if you're every day or every week you're pumping out 3 hours and 33 minutes of bullshit to rich Californians to send you money, you're living in an unreality, and unfortunately, I don't think that's going to have a good effect on your inner reality if you're. So anyway, yeah. I don't know.
You can go down the road of delusional disorder fairly quickly. Yeah.
Pretty sad though. I mean, and a big surprise to me that was.
Well,
he was in possession of a weapon, and anyway.
But he's kind of like an unthreatening figure, sort of going back to what I was saying about sort of what's the point of, like, if he was suicided, what's the point of it? Because he's not a threat as such, like, I mean, he's somebody who's
he did have a lot of supporters, though. That's the thing, and but you'd think the contrary. By killing him, you're only, in fact, if it's a kind of, the idea was to assassinate this bullshitter, it actually lends credence to the things he was saying.
Well, that's the weird thing.
People think that it might all be real.
I was going to say that's the weird thing about the whole situation. Like, it makes it fairly obvious that these people could have been onto something. However, I think I mentioned this on one of our shows before, that I just don't think they care. The people who do these, let's say whoever they are, who might be doing these suicidings and whatnot, and murderings and whatnot, they don't care. I just think they genuinely don't care what it looks like. They know that no one's going to do anything. Like, no one has the power to really do anything. Yes, it might look sus, but I just genuinely think they don't care. Okay, I'm just going to get up the list of the dead UFO researchers. Is it 11 now? What's the score? We're keeping a tally, eh? I think there was there's at least 10 who have like died or disappeared since 2022, but a lot of them have been, because I was touching on before, I think there's been kind of a spate since May 2025. So it's kind of like the last 12 months there's been an increase, and there's obviously been quite a few people who are still alive who are saying that they're in hiding, and then they're saying also that, I won't kill myself and things like this. So it's kind of weird, because we seem to be moving towards a kind of disclosure. Obviously, we got the Spielberg movie coming out July the 8th, I believe, Disclosure. One thing have you seen the trailer for that movie, by the way? No, bro. You want to fill me in? I don't really take any notes. Basically, I think there's a lot of bad rumors about him and the death of that young girl who was in Poltergeist. There's a lot of muck on him, but tell me about it though. Yeah. I mean, it's fairly standard, but the one thing I was going to mention about it is that in the trailer, the woman, the main sort of female lead, I forget the actress's name now. Is it Emily Blunt? Anyway, I think it's Emily Blunt. But anyway, she kind of gets channeled in a way by this alien voice. and it's the most stereotypical alien voice. They've not figured out. Hollywood hasn't figured out a way to do a different alien voice other than that kind of like super slowed down, reversed vocal type thing where it kind of like it's all croaky and deep. You've heard it millions of times before in so many other movies. And it's like as soon as I hear that noise, it kind of like just breaks the whole illusion that I could have been under, the whole hypnosis of the movie I could have been under, because I just feel like it sounds so ridiculous.
It snaps you out of the alpha trance.
Yeah, because it's been like you've heard it so many times before. Like, can we not come up with? I know it's kind of a difficult thing to do, but you got some of the alleged greatest minds in Hollywood. Could you not have come up with something better? That's something better than
What's the plot of it then?
I just seen the trailer, to be honest with you. The plot is just a kind of like there's like basically they disclose about the existence of aliens, but they do it through. And do you know what? I don't want to misspeak. I literally just watched the trailer to see what it was like, and I didn't actually read the synopsis. Just let me have a look here. But it's the idea with it is it's supposed to be softening us up for actual disclosure, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean that all starts. Yeah, I mean it's interesting because in the 50s when the UFO saucer thing started, it all came out of Europe after World War II, and initially, the first movie about flying saucers was called The Flying Saucer. I think it was in 1953, and the story was about how the Russians and the Americans were trying to find this scientist or this spy and get information about this man-made UFO saucer technology. So initially, in the early stages, because there were these sightings that started from 1947 through the 50s, early 50s, and there was no thought at that time of aliens. It wasn't associated with an alien thing. It was thought of as being something to do with secret human technology that had come on the back of the World War II developments. And there's newspaper articles which I've got one of them I'll share in a minute. I read at the time that actually detail the availability of saucer technology on sale in the international market, which is very interesting. And then, of course, the aliens thing really started. It was the sort of 60s sort of B movies, wasn't it? It became the B movie.
Well, you had the Great War of the Worlds as well, with the whole kind of like the Martians are coming, fake radio.
Oh yeah, of course. H.G. Wells. So that was the 19th century.
One of my favorite movies as a kid.
Yeah.
I used to find it so freaky. Have you seen the original War of the Worlds?
Oh yeah, of course I have. Yeah.
I used to find it so freaky, that scene where the alien runs past the house window. I don't know if you remember that, but it's the only time in the movie where you kind of see the full alien, but you don't see its face. You see this kind of outline that's just like really creepily done. And because obviously back then you didn't have CGI to make it all perfect, and like because it's kind of like gawky and a little bit like not be able to walk properly, or it's not like perfectly filmed, that adds an extra kind of creepiness to it. Because I think like pre-CGI, when you had things like, if you go a bit further forward to like the Alien movies with Sigourney Weaver and that, having props was almost like more creepy than the CG, having like this perfect CGI, because it added there was a heightened sense of realism with the props when done.
Of course, it's like your brain knows when something is, even if it's a model, it knows that it has something more real about it than a CGI. I think. I don't think. I mean, I don't know, because who knows quite how the brain knows. But you see a model with one of those handmade model spaceships, the Star Wars and stuff. The way the light plays on it and the shadow and everything, and just looks better and looks more real. It's because it is real. I suppose that's it. Even if it's a model, at least it's real, and your brain knows it's real. But you watch a CGI movie, it just sort of washes over you. Kind of washes over me. The reality, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you start to appreciate.
Your brain knows that it's not real, so you just,
and you appreciate it more from a. So when I watch things like that are more heavily CGI, I can still be impressed with it, but I'm not like, it's a different kind of impressed. I'm just like, okay, the aesthetic is good. you know, it's a well put together thing, but it's not got that same impact.
I don't think I know any. I can't really think of a CGI movie that really made me think it was that gave that reality, that kind of authenticity. It's just, I mean, it's I mean, the worst Transformers was the one that sort of just went so CGI heavy, and you're just looking at colors and noise. It's just, what am I watching now? What even is this? What am I subjecting myself to? It's just noise and colors and sort of stuff of some, you know. No wonder the kids have got no attention spans. So anyway, listen, let's go back to this these UFO researchers. Yeah, the recent one we talked about as of the last show we did was Neil McCasland, still missing. Very strange. I wonder if no one's found the body. That is weird. I mean, who knows if he's defected or what happened? That is really queer. Yeah.
How hard have they looked, I suppose? I mean, like, if he lives out, didn't he live like quite out in the sticks? If he's gone somewhere, it could take ages to find him.
Matthew James Sullivan, 39, Bronze Star, died May 12th.
Accident.
That was 2024, 2 years ago, from accidental overdose. Agreed to testify to Congress on UFO programs shortly before. That's pretty suspicious, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A few of these have got these testifying
but
dates.
Their deaths serve to. I mean, if these people are probably so expendable to what Jack Valley calls the manipulators. This is the shadowy group who is manipulating humanity and has been doing so for over 1,000 years at least. And if you wanted people to believe it was real, you would kill them. You would assassinate these people. I mean, I'm just thinking. I mean, if this operating group wants people to believe aliens are real and UFOs are coming and such and all that, in order to do a social conditioning, which is something I can get into at another point or later on, then a great way to do that would be to mysteriously, you know, abduct or murder these people. And then it makes it think like there is something going on. But I mean, who knows? We're just spitballing. So Amy Eskridge, of course, she was suicided by gunshot. I've got a video of her actually saying, you know, I'm not suicidal, about a month before she suicided.
Family talking about.
I don't think we're supposed to say that word, are we, on YouTube? You're supposed to say unalive themselves.
Nah, we're not getting.
Are we not chasing the algorithm?
No, but I mean, we were not, saying suicide isn't going to be an issue. It's not one of them things they flag properly. I don't think, anyway. I don't think so. But yeah, family citing chronic pain. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know about that. Well, the family under pressure to say something, maybe. I don't know.
It seems like a lot, though, doesn't it? 2025, Brown University shooting a plasma physicist. I think I remember that one. Yeah, they specifically remember that. Brown University shooting could be at the wrong place at the wrong time, but carjacking. It is kind of suspicious. But what if the idea is by doing these targeted assassinations, you're creating that expectation that they are hiding something. It's a kind of slightly paranoid, weird theory, but it's just exactly how they would work, because they have the value of human life means nothing to their long-term agenda.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this idea.
Recently, David Wilcock and Nick Pope, we just mentioned those guys. Yeah.
Oh, I honestly didn't know Nick Pope was involved in all of this. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, he was one of the first guys I remember from being a kid who was sort of seen as a prominent. He was known as like the real life Fox Mulder, basically. And he was.
Oh yeah, I think I read that somewhere. Yeah.
And like he was, because he was like a paranormal investigator. It's kind of coming back to me now. I remember as a kid watching Sky One. There was a program. I think it was Sky One. There was a program about him doing these different sort of paranormal UFO type investigations he was doing. So yeah, he was probably the first guy way back in like mid to late 90s that I knew of who was like a sort of prominent person in the UFO scene, sort of thing.
So Amy Eskridge, 1 month before her death, she sent text messages explicitly denying she would ever unalive herself, and she reports fearing for her life. And she alleged that directed energy weapons were being used against her, which is a weird one.
And these are people
Official
who otherwise
was unaliving by gunshot wound. Yeah, but so a month before it happened. Yeah, so that's. I mean, okay. If you think you're in danger, it may be that she was. But if it was in her mind, I'm just saying, it might lead you to a sort of mental health crisis. You know, where you might do that. What do you think? If you believed that was happening to you, that you were being persecuted.
My question, it's fully likely, but my question would be like, what's led her to, let's say it was a mental health crisis, it's not a conspiracy, it was a genuine suicide. Like, what has led her to start believing that? You know, this is somebody who's quite an esteemed person in their field. How have they suddenly had the sort of mental collapse? Like, what's caused it? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I watched an interview with her, and she was clearly drunk, and she was clearly a little bit disordered and highly strung. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, that she, you know, that I'm not saying that I'm not saying anything either way, just sort of suggesting, but I just do remember that, yeah, that lady is having a bit of a mental health crisis.
Well, I mean, that is important information for sure. I mean, I didn't know that. Like, yeah, if she's presenting as drunk on interviews and stuff like this, then yeah.
I mean, let's say she's not slurring as such, and she's not visibly pissed, but she's clearly had a few glasses of Chardonnay before getting on and doing the interview. Which, I mean, I've had a few Guinnesses, but I mean, but she probably had more than a few, if you know what I mean. Maybe just to give her that confidence, but you know, you can just sort of think, yeah, she's not settled, you know. But then again, I mean, she's just not at peace, shall we say? So, yeah. But then again, she may have had a genuine reason to be scared shitless. But yeah, you just don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, her position, was it like a plasma engineer or something? Was it? What was it?
Yeah. She works in anti-gravity, apparently, according to Supercroc. Yeah. Exotic propulsion concepts, exotic science.
I mean, you've got to be privy to some stuff if you're working in. If you get to the top of fields like that, surely if there is something going on in the background with things like reverse engineering of crashed craft and all these kind of ideas that float around, pun intended, then, you know, you probably are like, when you get to the top of that game, you probably start to know a few things. You get to hear a few things. And
you're always going to have people trying to infiltrate into your circle. And you're not going to be able to trust anyone because they're all going to want the scoop. So even just for corporate interests, there's going to be people who know you and are going to want to know what you know. So, I mean, things like that could be quite destabilizing if you're not sure who to trust.
The thing is,
official secrets and stuff.
Also, the thing with something like this, it could be a little from column A, a little from column B. There could be some genuine disappearances. There could be some genuine suicides. But then there could also be people who are getting bunked off. And then now everyone's just being lumped in the same group. And it's kind of impossible to tell, you know, if there is a pattern or if there isn't. So it could just be like a hodgepodge of things. Well, I guess we're never going to know, really. And I guess we see as well, going into the future, if anybody else succumbs. Because there's quite a few people in hiding at the moment. I see that.
It seems to be a bit of a snowball. It's gathering all sorts of bodies. Seems to have taken a life of its own, these dead scientists. Yeah.
And we'll just see how it goes over the next few months. I mean, like I was going to say about the Disclosure movie. Just to sort of just answer your question belatedly, basically the plot is there's a whistleblower that's seeking to reveal suppressed evidence of alien life, and then there's a kind of like these sort of weird things keep happening around the world. Like I was saying, Emily Blunt, who's a meteorologist, she begins speaking in an alien language, which is for me, like I said, very stereotypical, unbelievable. representation of an alien. Well, not that I know what, it's just it's the sort of shit we've seen on so many movies. It's just hard to believe it, sort of thing. So that's kind of the plot. It's about a whistleblower, and then weird things are happening around the world. And I guess maybe, I don't know, in the end it comes out. I don't know. I might watch it though. I might have a look at it when it comes.
So Amy Eskridge, she sent a text message. She said, if you see any report that I unalived myself, I most certainly did not. If you see any report that I overdosed, I did not. If you see any report that I killed anyone else, I most certainly did not. She also told others, if anything happens to me, it wasn't treated, it's suspicious, treated as such. And the thing that makes me wonder, she was acquaintances and friends with a former British intelligence officer, Frank Milbourne. The thing is, with British intelligence, once you're British intelligence, you're always British intelligence. I don't think there's any such thing as a former British intelligence officer, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly.
So I wonder what part he played in it. But for his part, he said explicitly that he believed he was murdered.
He said that he believes she was.
No, he believes she was murdered. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But like I say, he's former British intelligence. But it's one of those things. Things, in my understanding, as former British intelligence, you know. So I don't know. I treat people like that with suspicion. I mean, David Shayler was a famous one, wasn't he? Former British intelligence, but he was very active in the 911 Truth, and I sort of met him a few times. But he dressed up as a woman, didn't he? And it's that old thing of discrediting the truth movement by deciding that your name's Daisy and wearing a dress. And whether he did have a mental health crisis, but it's just too easy, isn't it? David Shayler becomes the voice of 911 Truth. Next thing you know, he's a woman. Dressed as a woman. It's like, that's textbook how to discredit a movement, don't you think?
Well, I mean, just on Eskridge as well and Frank Milbourne, they were actually, I don't know if you knew this or if it's on your notes there, but they were partnered to investigate harassment of other people in similar positions. So, I mean, they were working together on cases where other scientists have been harassed and threatened, which is quite curious.
Yeah, very interesting. So, I mean, on a side note, David Shayler, like I said, I used to go to 911 Truth in London. He was always around. He became like an official spokesperson in a way. But someone who was a former intelligence agent was also involved in that group, and apparently a friend of mine overheard him talking to David Shayler, and the man asked, "Oh, so you still working for the government?" And Shayler said he was still working covertly. So anyway, so my belief that once a British agent, always a British agent.
Well, it has to be. You don't
fair assumption, you know.
You don't do a job like that and then just cut time, surely. Yeah, no, there's definitely.
Yeah, I listened. The one that interested me though was Michael David Hicks. He was 1964 born, died July 30th, 2023. So his research was planetary defense and asteroid deflection. So if you remember, we were talking about the Apophis asteroid that was due, what, in 2030, was it?
2029.
2029.
Friday the 13th of April.
Yeah, Friday the 13th, 2029.
Friday 30th of April, 2029.
And it passes Earth at what? It's about 2 radiuses of Earth, right? Or maybe 2 Earth.
Yeah, it's about 20,000 miles. Yeah.
Insanely close. That's insanely close, yeah.
Well, they were originally suggesting that there was about a 500-mile window whereby if it was to pass through that window, then it would hit the Earth. But I think it's been revised since then because I'm going back like 10 years now.
But I mean, I could imagine if someone like him knew something about the asteroid in 2029, that it, in fact, despite NASA's claims that it won't hit Earth, if someone like that knew that it was, he'd have to be silenced and such and such. So we had that little discussion before, if you remember. What would you do? Would you tell everyone, or would you keep it quiet? You know?
Yeah. I think it's an interesting question because it's kind of like there's a lot of permutations on either side. I guess I think you have to tell everyone. I think that's
And
what you said as well, wasn't it? You said to tell everyone. Or am I wrong? I can't remember.
that's right. I did. I said just you got to tell everyone. Yeah.
I think I agree with
And so
that.
have it as an opportunity to sort of like, well, listen, we're all going to die, or I mean, I actually wrote a short story about this. That the government announced that an asteroid was going to crash, was going to hit the Earth and wipe out life, and the government arranged this lottery of you could buy these pills, and they would either give you euphoria or very very easy death, and it was one way of managing the situation, that rather than deal with all of the unpleasantness of apocalypse and destruction, that you would actually die before it happened. And so what it is, most of the people actually take this offer up and they actually pass away with the government peace medicine. And then at the end, it turns out it was actually just a scam. There was no asteroid. So it was like a way to depopulate the Earth, right? To scare people into offing themselves, when it was actually, oh no, actually the asteroid just didn't pass as quite as close as we thought. We miscalculated. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, imagine. No, this would be a very nice way of doing it. Yeah. But that's going to
But
be
if you were to do that, that's how you'd have to think. You'd actually have to plan. Okay, so guys, we're going to die. So would you want to linger? Do you want to hang on and take your chances with the asteroid and the Earth that's going to be ravaged afterwards, or you just want to, just have a peaceful bedside death with his medicine and say goodbye to your family, have a little party and then snuff it, right?
I'm definitely taking my chances with the asteroid. There's no way I'm taking. Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, if I have to die by an asteroid, I mean, a hell of a way to go, right? Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, I mean, if I'm going to go either way, like, I'd rather go with a sort of like crazy asteroid impact as opposed to just like some pill that, The thing is with an asteroid impact, it's not going to be like a slow death, is it? It's going to be pretty quick anyway, and you get a bit of a light show, and everyone's going with you.
Bro. I don't know if it'd be that quick. I mean, the main thing with the asteroid would be the clouds, I gather in these situations it would just completely disrupt the weather, probably millions and billions of tons of dust and magma and stuff would erupt into the Earth's atmosphere, blocking off the sun. I think that would be the worry, is that
I guess I was meaning more like
you would be trying to find food. Everything would stop growing, the economy would stop, and it would be kind of like that Mad Max world,
I guess I was thinking if you were more in the path of it, sort of thing. But yeah, obviously for the wider world, it's going to be a slower, probably quite grim death, probably choking to death. But everyone would probably like run underground, isn't it? I guess we would have all underground bunkers. We would have some time.
Why would you have? Who's going to build you underground bunkers? I mean, why would we get them?
Well, we would have to probably build them, unfortunately. That energy that we were talking about before for the football, that's probably going to have to be channeled into bunkers.
Yeah, that's
bunker building.
Yeah. Saturday, 3:00 Saturday afternoon, everyone's building bunkers, not watching football. Yeah.
Gonna have
plow up the soccer pitch and
taking our tins of baked beans down there.
Yeah.
And
so anyway, she's gone. So that's 11, I think, so far.
So yeah, I mean, it's like we just watched this space, isn't it? Quite literally, and it's going to be interesting to see if anybody else goes. And I'm just interested to see what happens after this movie comes out, because people have been saying for ages. I've been seeing on X from various kind of people who think they're in the know that Trump is going to be the one who is going to reveal finally about the existence of aliens. And I think they will do a kind of disclosure, but I think it will likely leave more questions than it will give answers. I can't, let's just say hypothetically there is something to disclose. I can't see them disclosing it fully. There's just so many permutations to doing that. When we talk about control and controlling the population, if you reveal that, we're being visited by it, let's just hypothetically that we're being visited by aliens and stuff like this, that raises a lot of question marks about things like religion, people's beliefs. I don't think any government in the world wants to go down that road, unless there's another reason to do it that I'm not thinking of.
To do what again? Sorry.
to disclose that we're being visited by aliens, or that aliens are here, or all this kind of stuff. I think that just would raise so many questions in the public psyche about decades and centuries held beliefs about religion. That would a government
but that's precisely why they would do it, because they get dismantle society. This is what they want to do. They can recreate society. This is what revolutions always do. If you remember the French Revolution, when that happened, they got rid of Christianity, and they even changed the days of the week and the months of the year. They're 10 days a week, because that's what they want to do. They want to remold society. The manipulators, that's their goal. So the aliens agenda suits their goal completely. I could read you something, actually. I was researching about this. But yeah, I mean, that's what I think. I think it's part of disinformation, social change agenda. I mean, they're at war with Christianity. They've been at war with Christianity since Jesus, was nailed to the cross. So it's a perfect way to discredit, Christianity. I mean, discredit religion. Some religions need discrediting, yeah, but Christianity, I don't think you should discredit it. I think it has some fundamental truths that have made us what we are today. And if you believe in your soul and the spirit, and you believe that maybe in the next world things aren't always rosy, if you've been a bit of a bad boy, you might get some demonic attachments. If you don't want to be sort of dragged off to hell with the demons, then you've got to have Christ on your side. I mean, we know that there's too many reports of predatory entities, whether they're dimensional or aliens, but there's something predatory out in the darkness of whatever, the lower fourth dimension, whatever they might want to call it.
Well, you seem to see it a lot when you see videos of, because me, I've always been a little bit skeptical about sort of demons, demonic possession, that kind of thing. But I've become more warmer to it, if that's the wrong phrase, but you know what I mean. I've become more sort of like accustomed to the idea over the past sort of year or two, and especially when you see people who've got such extreme political opinions. And to be fair, a lot of it is kind of like far left, extreme left type people. When you see them on camera and you see them talking, they look like people who are possessed. They look like they have got something has got a hold of them. You can see it in their eyes. They almost look like they're being puppeteered. And I can certainly sort of see something like that in their presentation for sure.
All right, I'm just going to put this on, this thing about David Wilcock looking thin and frail.
I'm fine the way I am. I don't want to lose any more weight, trust me, and I hope I don't. But there's definitely certain areas of concern that I have in my life, and obviously there's a lot of really crazy stuff going on. What am I doing to lose weight? Well, it's called trying to eat organic when you have two grocery stores that hardly give you anything organic at all. That's the problem. I used to be carnivore. I used to eat steaks for dinner, eggs for breakfast, and the only vegetable I had was broccoli. Never ate salad at all. I was doing much better. And bison is what I used to have. I have the steaks, but I mean, they used to cost $16 a steak, which was still really outrageous, but now they cost like $26 a steak. Sometimes you can even get them down to like $13 a steak. So it's like...
Yeah, I don't think he was short of money, like you say, but he's doing a grift, grifting for dinner. He wants his din-dins, and you need to send him money. So anyway, listen, I want to talk about my latest book. I don't want to talk about too much because it's on the topic of what we're talking about. So I just want to put, just going to share the screen.
Yeah, I was going to say share the.
Yeah, I'm going to share that. My latest book on Amazon. Hang on, just bear with. Is it coming up?
Yeah, I got it.
Operators Beyond the Veil. Yes, okay. So it's literally just been released. It's the second edition of Demons of Eleusis. So it hasn't got any reviews yet. It's available I put it on Amazon.com. I think it'd be on Amazon.co.uk as well. So it's paperback, Kindle. So I'll just read the blurb because it's connected to the UFO cult, and it's connected to.
Just read that. I'll be back in 1 sec. If you just read that, I'll be back in 1 sec. Yeah.
I'll read this. Then. Yeah. Okay. So, what is the connection between modern UFO cults and a 17th century occult secret society? Did you know that Sirhan, the assassin of Robert F. Kennedy, was a member of the Rosicrucian secret society? What about rumors of psychic powers of these occult groups? Are they true? Did you ever wonder whether history is just a series of unplanned accidents, or are there people out there with a definite plan? If they do have a plan, what is their long-term agenda? In this fascinating, if I say so myself, and meticulously researched investigation, which starts in the modern day, examining some of the mysteries and contradictions of the UFO and aliens phenomenon, following a breadcrumb trail of clues backwards through history, arriving at the explanation for almost everything that's happening in the world right now. This book investigates the possibility of the spirit world, whether there are human agencies and secret societies in contact with this realm, whether aliens are just the new demons and part of a new manipulation to remold society according to the plan of the secret societies. It also investigates the growth of the European Hermetic movement and the hidden meaning of spiritual alchemy, and examines how this medieval curiosity is still very much active in the world, and asks the basic questions we should all be asking right now in the midst of a world on the edge of chaos and destruction. Why are they doing it? How are they doing it? And who is doing it? And finds the answer. So if you're interested in UFO cults, demons, whether it's real spiritual contact, alchemy, the Rosicrucians, the Alumbrados, the Illuminati, it's all in here. And I've got a lot of answers. And if you've been paying attention to any of my work recently, or at any point, you generally know I'm quite well researched. I tend to back up what I'm saying with evidence. So that is, I put a link in the chat to purchase my book, and there you go. All right.
Yeah, go take a look, guys. It's going to be good.
Yeah. I tell you what, I think I'll take a break. Should I put on got a 15-minute long tune? It'll give me time to have a break. What do you think?
Right. Okay. Yeah, I was going to put something in the private chat, but yeah. Just put the tune. I'm going to put something in the private chat for you to see.
Yeah. Okay. Go on then. All right. I'll put a tune on. 15 minutes. Yeah. All right. What's going on?
I'm really concerned about the kids today. I think they're fucked. There's no future for them. There's no jobs. The majority of them are having to still live at home with parents because they can't afford to pay rent. They can't afford to get a mortgage. Fuck all. So a lot of them are just sat at home on games, wasting their life away. Thinking that that's going to be their future is just playing games and wanking, and wanking's not an applicable skill. I mean, they don't have any applicable skills. I mean, they don't know how to cook. They don't know how to fucking clean. They can't dig a fucking garden because they sat at home all day on a fucking tube. Yeah, they don't know how to lay a brick, fucking tile. Don't know how to do fuck all. You need to start learning how to do these skills. You need to start getting off the fucking phones and getting off the computers and living in the fucking real world, not the digital world. The digital world is, that's going to fucking enslave them all. Yeah, they're not moving. Or literate, you know what I mean? And they just don't know their numbers and fucking words. Most they know is fucking dots on the screen. It's, They have no unifying faith. Yeah, they've got diversity. And I guess wokeness is their faith now. But yeah, some weird new virtue signalling, pedophilic intersectionalism. And intersectionalism is the foundation of communism. Kids are being groomed by everybody to be this way. So perhaps we can change that. Perhaps we should groom them as to we want them to have a better faith in humanity. Teach them skills like cooking. Exercise, what we do with them. Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, just looking out, I mean, how many fat little bastards are there out there? It's not normal, it's tragic. Other than fucking the health implications. It's not good. Because the apocalypse is coming because of this generation's weakness. This generation's weakness is a direct result of successive generations getting weaker and weaker and lazier and lazier. And we've ended up with this generation that's the laziest, fattest, stupidest, wokest, most childish bunch of useless bastards we've ever seen. And it's all fault because it's these bell ends which are causing the apocalypse. But wouldn't it be great if even post-apocalypse that there was some great guy who wanted to do the right thing, who cared about posterity, who wanted to bring the kids up right, to venerate the elder wisdom, unifying their faith, and murderers towards all those Greta Thunbergs out there.
been praying tonight. I pray you've been praying, my little ones. Praying that we'll be alright. Gather those branches, little ones. They gather the wood for the fire. All that you can find now, little ones. Before the snows get much higher. Anything that burns now, little ones. Anything that you may find. Gather it fast now, little ones. Before the snow makes us blind. Keep the fire roaring, little ones. Keep the house holy and warm. Close every window and bar every door to weather this season of storm. They're the wolves at the door, my little ones, and there's no time to waste on your gaze. Open your hearts, my little ones, to the violence of the flames. Heat up your blades now, little ones, and when they go red, how they slice. Away the frost and the fallen, away the harshness of ice. And put your face close to the fire, my dear, and hold it till you feel it burn. Do you know it is God's way, my dear? It means you're still watching to learn. Keep to your prayers now, little ones, and many moons till we are down. And keep your eyes fixed on the fire at night, for soon we shall kill in the sun. Burn bright the fire and the forge again. And while we now clasp hands and kneel, answer our prayers now, Almighty Lord, our God of the fire and steel. Savour your vengeance every day, fight in the light of the Lord. When we're done killing, and then we'll praise who our God, the flame of the sword. 10,000 times every move is made, the hammer, the steelers is shaped. An army as far as the eye can see, a flame of swords like the landscape. Beauty resides in the mastery, our breathtaking display of skill. The slow blind that give them one chance to see, and the speed in which fire can kill. All of the children now move as one, and the swords of fire swallow the night. Into the furnace, into the sun, all that is left is the night. And the seas we shall sail will be fire and blood, or will be butchered and torched. For come the morning, it is the dawning of an earth barren and scorched.
When I was about 8 years old, I first heard about something called climate change or global warming. Apparently that was something humans had created by our way of living. I was told to turn off the lights to save energy. And to recycle paper to save resources. I remember thinking that it was very strange that humans, who are an animal species among others, could be capable of changing the Earth's climate. Because if we were, and if it was really happening, we wouldn't be talking about anything else. As soon as you turn on the TV, everything would be about that. Headlines, radio, newspapers. You would never read or hear about anything else. As if there was a world war going on. But no one ever talked about it. If burning fossil fuels was so bad, that it threatened our very existence. How could we just continue like before? Why were there no restrictions? Why wasn't it made illegal? To me, that did not add up. It was too unreal. So when I was 11, I became ill. I fell into depression. I stopped talking. And I stopped eating. In 2 months, I lost about 10 kilos of weight. Later on, I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. OCD. And selective mutism. That basically means I only speak when I think it's necessary. Now was one of those moments.
And we're back.
Oh, good
With
timing.
Simon Pam
Good timing.
Into the Sun.
Was that a sample of Greta Thunberg, or was my ears deceiving me?
She's quite distinctive, isn't she? It certainly was. It was her. Yeah. Little,
I like the way they've done that. The way they've done the. You've got her talking, and you just got the laughter. Because she should be mocked and laughed at.
That's it. I mean, we were saying before the show started, because I put a new video, a sandwich pan track with George Soros's Gollum. Because I said to you before, I went for a walk the other day, and I thought, George Soros, because he's really behind all of this that's happening to us, the Open Societies Foundation that he creates, and he's the one. When you always wonder, how come these migrants get legal aid? Who's advising them? Who is it who's telling them what to say to the authorities, to the courts, so that they can get away with basically what they do? And it's all these NGOs. It's George Soros's organizations that get free legal aid. Soros openly promotes open borders, and also soft on policing policies. So you think about the Pincer movement, George Soros promoting open borders, funding DAs in America and in the UK, funding a few NGOs, encouraging soft on crime policing, and making it like a race issue, making it sort of right, making it sort of because as we mentioned before, there was that incident where the police monitoring van had stopped recording because they were catching too many criminals. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
But they were the wrong kind of criminals. They weren't the old grannies Facebooking or saying things on Twitter that they shouldn't be saying, according to the government. But they were actual dangerous criminals because they were the wrong shade, They,
At the wrong time, yeah, they weren't
they had
entitled.
to stop because they'd be thought racist because they're catching too many of these people.
Again,
And all
fearful.
this with George Soros, you know.
It's like I mentioned, we were mentioning backstage as well earlier about, I think it was in Denmark, about there was a march, a lot of women marching, and some men as well, but mainly women, very much understandably marching in this Danish town, where the government there had just announced that they were going to house a lot of illegal migrants in there, and the women are marching, obviously fearing for their safety, given the evidence that they've seen of these situations around Europe. And yeah, it's another way, but it's sorry, to your point of not wanting to seem racist, the governments would rather, look after these migrants than, do the sort of more than sort of protect the vulnerable of the society. They're more concerned with not appearing to be discriminatory against migrants, than protecting women and children who they purport to be in favor of protecting, and who they purport to be, so concerned about their dangers. We hear this quite a lot. Well, you're obviously not. You all talk basically, like, look what they do, not what they say. As always with life.
Was that the protest when the police suddenly, when it's the migrants demonstrating or rioting or protesting, it's all shirt sleeves, smiling policemen with shirt sleeves standing around watching. But then when it's protesting immigration, suddenly the batons come out and people get their heads knocked off. Was it that one I saw? Was it in Holland? I saw this. I saw literally a local community where the people were on the street protesting against the violence against women and children that had been taking place, and the police were just bashing their heads in because it's white people and you're allowed to, you don't police the immigrants. You don't, when they're doing something, you don't come. But when it's white people protesting or Facebooking or Twittering, then the heavy arm of the police is coming on you. That's called anarcho tyranny.
Well, the most famous situation of that, I suppose, or infamous, was the Rochdale cases, where it was admitted and it's on record that the police didn't want to appear racist by investigating these situations too deeply, so they were allowed to proliferate. And there's so many cases of little girls there, that were victims because of this lackadaisical or fearful approach, basically. And it's kind of like, it's hard. I mean, obviously, I was going to say it's hard to believe. Obviously, we can believe it. We're not surprised, but it's still hard to really fathom how we could do this. It's just you keep seeing these stories and you just think to yourself, like, how can people be doing this? It just I don't know. It boggles my mind, honestly.
Well, the police, it's training, isn't it? I mean, anyone working for the government or working even in corporate business or anywhere is just always constantly given weekly sort of diversity training, just until you're brainwashed, basically. It's just the training. You sort of sit there compliantly absorbing it, and then you get that illusion of consensus where everyone's listening and agreeing, and then you're brainwashed, and it's just repetition, isn't it? Sheer repetition of diversity and equal opportunities, and
I walked out of one once
against racism. Racism is the worst thing in the world, of course. And the more that gets repeated to you in a setting where you have to be there at work, and you've got to stay there and earn your money for your family, unfortunately, most people don't have the strength of will to realize, to say to themselves, this is bullshit and I'm not putting up with this, because you don't want to be that person who stands up and risks their job by saying, by defying the training and saying this is bullshit, or why are we doing this, or what is the purpose of this?
Well, that is the main problem, isn't it? They've got you by the jaffers because you don't want to lose your job. And for a lot of people, they can't just quit their job and they may be skilled enough to go into another job, but finding that other job, such as the marketplace, the job marketplace at the moment.
Particularly in the police, isn't it? Because it's like a lifelong profession.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I had they sent everyone. I was just going to say, sorry, they sent everyone, including myself, where I work, to new diversity courses. This is going back about 6-7 years ago, actually, now. And they had a break. Like, we did like sort of 45 minutes of this sort of 2-hour, maybe 3-hour diversity training. It was crazy. And we did about 45 minutes, went for a break, and I didn't go back. So I was just like,
Yeah.
"Fuck this."
Nice one.
And there was a couple of us. There was a few of us. I can't remember what it was. They were saying some really, like I say, it was 6 years ago, but they were coming out with some mad stuff. Like I can't remember examples, sorry, off the top of my head, but it was, you can imagine what diversity training would be like, right? So I put up with it for about 45 minutes or so, and then we had the break, and I was like, right, that's it. This is my chance to flee.
Yeah. Did no one pull you up for that?
No, I thought they might, but no one said
Yeah.
anything. Because
Yeah,
I'd
but I think
signed
most
in. I'd
people,
signed already
unfortunately,
that I'd done, like, because
you already
technically
have-
you had to sign in when you entered in. So you signed in at
Yeah.
the start. So to them, your name's signed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we used to do tricks and stuff like that. We'd sign out for our friends and things like that. We had little tricks where we could we'd all go, and then one of us, people would disappear, and we'd make a deal that I'll stay, and this time you go early, and I'll sign you out. But you'll have, and then next time I'll leave early, and you sign me out when it's over. Just you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So with a little bit of teamwork, you can easily get out of these things. But
Teamwork makes the dream work.
So yeah, I just wanted to look this. I wanted to see this woman, Amy Eskridge, because put a face to it and put a voice to her. And this is probably the most pertinently suspicious example, because she said the month before she was threatening to kill us. So I'll just play this for a bit. We're going to leave. We're going to what, another 10 minutes or what?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go.
He said it has been suppressed every single fucking time. And he said, I don't think they're going to suppress it this time. He said, I think you're in the clear. He said, they obviously know about you because I've had multiple, both protective and threatening interactions with various agency affiliations, whatever. He was like, if you haven't had a U.S. government agent come to you and say, stop, shut the fuck up, stop, shut the fuck up. If that hasn't happened, they're going to let you do it. They're waiting.
So this was the video I was talking about. She seems like she's quite highly strung. I mean, maybe understandably, but yeah, she seems to be. I don't know if that gives her credence. Probably it does, to be honest. I mean, but then what really happened? Whether she was murdered for threatening to release anti-gravity technology information. It's too bad she didn't make any videos where she actually says what the secrets are. I don't know quite why that didn't happen, but anyway, let's just carry on for a bit on this one.
There are SSP motherfuckers that are fucking twiddling their thumbs. Like, is Amy not going to publish soon? Gah, we've been influencing this bitch forever. Doesn't she know we want her to publish? Jesus. Like, there's multiple people doing that right now. And on the other side of the fence, there's multiple parties looking at each other like, didn't we tell this bitch 3 years ago that we kill people for this? Is she not listening? What is she doing? She's still doing it? What? We told her we were going to kill her 3 years ago. So I have these two different scenarios floating constantly in my life where I have people being like, do it, do it, do it. You're the one, do it. And then I have multiple people being like, they're going to kill you. Don't do it. They're going to kill you.
Amy Catherine Eskridge was a 34-year-old scientist based in Huntsville, Alabama, commonly referred to as Rocket City, who co-founded the Institute for Exotic Science. She held degrees in chemistry and biology from the University of Alabama in Huntsville and pursued interdisciplinary work in electrical engineering, physics, plasma science, and experimental propulsion, including what she described as gravity modification or anti-gravity research. Let me expound it more for those who don't know what anti-gravity is. Anti-gravity, sometimes referred to as anti-grav,
from this stuff and they say, oh no, that's fringe, you can't do that. Or you have a result that you want to publish and they say, oh no, that's crazy. And then so that suppresses a lot of publications that maybe are accurate, but they're perceived badly. And so professors are afraid to publish it. But if you had a privately funded research institution You can just study whatever you want to. And you don't have to worry about tenure.
In a 2020 interview with Jeremy Rise, Amy stated her team had made progress on anti-gravity related work. She said, "We discovered anti-gravity, and our lives went to expletive and people started sabotaging us, and alleged prior independent discoveries of similar technology had been suppressed." She also mentioned receiving threats and being close to breakthroughs she feared publishing. She later died on the 11th of June 2022 at her home in Huntsville from a single self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head, according to the local authorities. Local authorities and medical examiners ruled it a suicide. No detailed public investigative report or autopsy findings were released at the time, which has contributed to ongoing speculation. Her obituary described her as a genius who questioned conventional scientific wisdom. Months before her death, around May 13, 2022, Eskridge sent messages to associates expressing fear for her safety. Widely quoted text stated, "Is greater than self. I most definitely did not. If you see..."
Okay, so there you go. You get the idea.
I mean,
yeah?
she's obviously not a stupid person. Do you know what I mean? So,
Clearly not. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is,
Yeah.
I see what you mean about, like, was this the interview, sorry, you were referencing when you said she seemed a little bit tipsy?
Yeah, that was the interview that I'd seen, and she goes on and she swears a lot. I mean, she just seems like she's obviously under pressure, and she's probably had a few drinks. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but
No, I was going to say the same
we're just
thing.
trying to explore the possibilities. It's like that kind of thing, isn't it? Just once you've once you've removed the what is that Sherlock Holmes thing? Once you've removed the impossible, the only solution, whatever, I can't remember, man. Do you know what I'm talking about? I just, you discuss all the possibilities, and once you've removed that, what's impossible, then what's left is the solution. So it's just going through the things, just because I don't want to automatically believe she was murdered for threatening to release secrets. She may have been, but then there could even be the other angle that maybe some organization is deliberately targeting these people to create this feeling that they are hiding something. But it's just another possibility. I'm just putting them out there as I don't know what the truth is. What do you think? What do you think?
Well, it's going to say, well, number one, I was going to say, like, given the situation she was in, it's not exactly unbelievable that she would be a bit like, turning to drink somewhat.
Yeah.
The quote you're looking for, by the way, is when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that's the process. You just have to, I think for me anyway, my process is to go through the
because, like, if she is believing that she's a target and she is drinking more, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that she could have possibly committed suicide genuinely. But I don't know.
That's what I'm getting at. I'm not saying that's the case, but yeah, it's a possibility. Yeah.
It's not, but then for her to be saying quite explicitly that she's not going to do that, I don't know.
No, I agree with you.
Speaking from just saying, like, from someone who's worked in mental health for the best part of 2 decades, I mean, it's unusual for someone to say these things and then kill themselves. They're usually one of two things. Usually either they won't say anything about committing suicide and then you will find they've committed suicide. So they'll be completely quiet about it. That's the most common thing. Or they will say about it and then eventually do it. They may have some failed attempts as well. It's quite unusual for some. I mean, obviously, look, these are unusual cases. It's not the sort of cases that you would find typically in my day-to-day work. Obviously, it's a bit of an exceptional case. But, typically people who do kill themselves either don't say anything about suicide before they kill themselves, or they will explicitly say they are going to do it. So it's a bit.
The pattern seems to be the opposite, doesn't it? It seems to be that these people who are, whether they are suicided, they always say that they're not going to do it. And that's the thing, isn't it? So it does seem suspicious. I'm starting to... But then that asks the question, then, doesn't it? It means so if they are being murdered for threatening to release this information they have, what is the information they have? They must have something quite explosive. I mean, the thing is also, though, from a corporate industrial complex point of view, if this lady is about to release secrets of top secret anti-gravity research, the government apparatus can't allow that to happen as well. So it doesn't have to be connected to aliens or the agenda of
Sure, that's definitely worth
you know,
pointing out. Yeah,
disclosure.
it's,
So yeah,
it's an intelligence thing
maybe
as well. As
corporate corporate interests.
But anti-grav is
military.
something that is being cited by, if you look at like Bob Lazar's story, he talks extensively about it was an anti-gravity. He explains in great detail. He did another great podcast with Joe Rogan where he gets a bit tipsy actually in the podcast.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's a good watch. Bob Lazar getting a bit tipsy with Joe Rogan.
Isn't he being discredited though? Isn't he a bit dodgy? He's a bit of a bullshitter, isn't he? I
don't
think he's a bit
really being discredited. I mean, like
Lear. The other one was Lear. John Lear. He was a big bullshitter, disinformation artist. But I mean, tell me about what he said. I mean, if you can.
well, he was just talking about how when he was exposed to the craft, it had a sort of force field around it where it kind of like you pushed it and it pushed back against you. And he described it as being like an anti-gravity propulsion system. And there's been quite a few of these whistleblowers who've come out and used the same sort of descriptions. It's always anti-gravity. It's always this kind of like pushes reality away from it as it moves, sort of thing. It's definitely worth. It's definitely worth. There's a good 3 hours of it, as Joe Rogan used 3 hours, and it's really fascinating. Like they get into the really get into the weeds of it, and I definitely recommend that. I'm actually only halfway through it myself because I can't do.
Oh, I'll have a look at it. Yeah. Well, listen, it's something we can talk about next show. Then I'll watch that. And
yeah, if you watch that, I'll get to the end of it as well, and then we can come back on it. Yeah. I'm gonna have to go in a few minutes. Sorry, man. We can do.
Yeah, we're going to finish. I just want to end with this because this is the counterpoint to this aliens stuff. This newspaper article in 1947 appeared. It's very interesting. It's kind of this is cited in my new book.
I think my delivery might be here. Sorry, one sec. You carry
on. I'll carry on with this. Yeah, we won't be going much longer. So the article appeared in 1947. Spies bid for Franco's weapons, and you can see that. Let me just bear with a minute. Yeah, here we go. Geneva, 3 German scientists working under the personal sponsorship of Generalissimo Franco developed 2 highly advanced weapons of war according specifications and blueprints smuggled out of Spain. The first weapon is an electromagnetic rocket, and it's claimed to be responsible for the flying saucers seen over the North American continent last summer. So this was 1946, I suppose, was the height of when it all began, really. It's all very suspicious that it all came on the back of World War II and all of the developments in Piemonte by the Nazis and Spain, apparently, as well. Second weapon is an artillery warhead employing the principle of nuclear energy and described as having a startling discriminating power. So, yeah, I mean, what interests me is in the initial days of the flying saucer phenomenon, there were multiple reports and multiple press releases around the world saying that these blueprints were for sale to the highest bidder. And they were being sort of snuck out of these the former belligerent powers in World War II. What do you think of that, Future Shock?
Sorry, I was literally just getting my food in from the delivery guy, so I've kind of missed most of that.
Well, the story is that secrets of UFO of saucers, they were called flying saucers at the time, were available for sale, and they were smuggled out of the belligerent powers after World War II by the Piemonte, of course, famously rocket development there. So this is the angle that I'm exploring, is that there's an element to the whole UFO thing that is man-made, and it can be demonstrated historically at the earliest stages of the development of the flying saucer phenomenon that it was man-made. What do you think?
So hang on a sec. Sorry, what were we saying? They were
man-made UFOs, flying saucers made by Spain and the Nazis after World War II for sale to the highest bidder. No aliens required.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we know that
You've not heard the angle before.
We did a bit about how the Nazis would do. We had the picture of the one a few shows ago last year, wasn't it? We had a picture of the one that the Nazis were developing that was literally a man-made flying saucer. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah. I mean, it's all in my book. A lot of this stuff is in my book. I mean, I'm just putting it out there and debating it and also that it's connected to a secret society, the Rosicrucians, who are in contact with these, galactic brotherhood, and these hidden masters, and the agenda for them is the abolition of religion and open borders. And this was started in the 1960s. This kind of UFO cults. They always repeat the same thing. The UFO cults always want open borders, and they want the end of religion, but they mean Christianity. And these are the aims that accord also with another group of people who seem to be very active in the world, of which George Soros is a member of that group, shall we say. It just seems too much of a coincidence that all of these forces are operating together to fulfill an agenda that, you know, is
I just wonder
inimical
how
to
much.
us.
I just wonder how many of them were actually produced. Like, does it say at any point in the article roughly like how many?
I think the blueprints. I don't know. It said they were developed. Weapons was developed. There were flying saucers seen, but this is the blueprints that are for sale apparently.
Oh, okay, I see.
It says here that the principal powers fully believe Franco has been developing new weapons. So the electromagnetic rocket, which is basically a flying saucer, so it actually exists and are now being manufactured in Spain.
Well, originally, a lot of the earliest sightings of UFOs were actually described as more cigar-shaped. They weren't like, say, for example, you'd get a lot of sightings, and you see this consistently. And I do want to get into this a bit more in maybe in the next show or in a preceding show.
Yeah, we're going to carry on with this because I've still got a lot of material, so we're going to keep going with the UFO stuff.
But what I was going to say is, like, a lot of the earliest sightings, as well as modern sightings as well, are occurring over the seas, and there's something I want to get into a bit later. But yeah, a lot of the earliest sightings were from pilots who would describe cigar shapes as opposed to flying saucer. The typical flying saucer description came along.
There was also the triangle shape as well, which was mentioned. And my mum even saw a triangle shaped, but that's Delta Wing. That's like the stealth bomber. That's like that.
Yeah.
You can imagine them seeing the triangle shape before the stealth bomber came out, the Delta Wing, which was being developed by the Nazis as well. So anyway, listen, there's one more thing. Have you got time for one more thing?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, then
We got where dolls dance dollhouse in the house as well. Saying
in the house
tonight.
in the dollhouse. Yeah, okay, great stuff. Yeah.
No, it's been a good one. I've enjoyed it, but yeah, we still got a lot to get into on this subject, which we will carry.
Yeah,
on.
absolutely. We've just scratched the surface actually, because I thought I'd get through more.
Hey, up! What's happened there? Where's he gone? Is he still there? True Spoon, have you disappeared? I don't know where he's gone, but until he returns, yeah, there's an awful lot of these sightings that occur. Oh, I think he's coming back in a second. That occur over water, over oceans, and that's something we're going to look into a bit more in later streams. So a lot of military-based sightings and things like that. People, pilots and stuff like this. But the very early ones are actually all describing cigar shapes, not flying saucer shapes. But we can get into that in. We were doing so well. So yeah, we were doing so well, and there's been a few gremlins in the system right at the end of the show, and I think Truth Spoon is kind of stuck rotating. Let's see if I can unmute him. He's on mute. One second, guys. 1 second. I'm going to see if I can unmute him. Tech issues here. Tech issues. I think he needs to, maybe if he just goes, maybe if he signs out and signs back in, he can come back. So yeah, Where Dolls Dance, just as soon as you put in Good Show Tonight, it all falls apart from a technical perspective. But there you go. But we've been doing a good 2 hours and 22 minutes. Like, cheers everyone who's been locked in. It's always good to chat about UFOs, always good bit of fun alien chat. Listen, we may be coming. Speaking of no, I thought Truth Spin was back.
All right, am I back now?
He's back. I think he's back now. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, great. Yeah, nice one. Thanks for holding the fort, man. So yeah,
Yeah, no, I was
So
just
yeah,
saying about how a lot of these sightings have come over again, like I say, something we'll get into later, but a lot of these sightings come over the oceans and water. And it's just quite interesting because there's this theory that there's bases underwater, and if you were,
yeah, I'd like to look into that too. Actually, I'd like to do my own research and look at that as well. I'm very interested in that. We could look into that for next week, maybe.
yeah, 100%, yeah.
Before we go though, I want to just read this thing from Maori. She was a former Illuminati. It's like the David Icke from used to have like a lot of these former Illuminati insiders. She claimed she was training people in the Illuminati. She reckons that she was a grey alien, and she reckons that they used children in these abduction scenes. And this is very interesting. I'll read this, shall I? And then we'll
Sorry,
say goodbye.
she said that she was a grey alien.
She was a grey alien. Yeah.
But she wasn't any. She changed into a.
Let me read it, and it'll come clear. But it was part of a mind control operation. Like these abductions and things. They're sort of setups to mind control someone into believing in aliens, and then they can promulgate your agenda. So anyway, here she goes. She goes, "The grey alien is a creation of Nazi innovation. An alien was needed to accompany the secret advanced flying machines made during World War II in Germany, which after the war developed into the Nazi UFO hoax in America." That's my thesis on this. What was their secret formula in creating the grey aliens? Let's start with the stocking mask. It turns out that the nylon stocking was useful for more than just a gift to the ladies. In fact, the stocking mask was the precursor of the ski mask, so often used in many bank robberies. The stocking contorts the face down to the bones and removes a person's individual facial features. The ears become 2 holes on the nose of a child. The mouth becomes a non-functional slit, and it fits the description of the aliens, doesn't it? The eyes disappear altogether. Why it makes you look almost alien except for the eyes. One could add a nice pair of World War II Army surplus goggles to hide the lack of eyes. Oh wait, if one hides the elastic on the goggles, each lens, which is almond-shaped, becomes an eye. Cool. If the stocking is wrapped around the head, covering the hair, the head becomes bigger and bald. Add a little white bath powder to blend it all together. And oh, did I mention that the Nazis like to use children, especially little girls? The Nazis were not only innovative, they were cheap. The little grey alien doesn't even get clothes, but had to run around in the cold at night. Brr. The grey aliens were part of a larger program of mind control, especially of cult-connected members. No one comes back from an abduction with anything good to say about grey aliens, because they are substituting what used to be Satan programming, as in Satan is watching you. Only now it's greys and they're inserting implants and watching you. Same difference. Both Satan and grey aliens also like animal mutilations. Not to mention both are involved in the sexual creation of hybrids. Satan human, alien human. Who would like an alien that mimics Satan? Actually, I consider that view unfair. When I was a grey alien, I just stood there cold and scared, ready to piss in my pants if I'd been allowed to wear them. What are grey aliens good for? They can't reproduce to make more grey aliens. This is true. They only use prepubescent females and they called them adult males. The Nazis seem anyway, blah, blah, blah. So you get the idea. So pretty interesting. I just think that's a perspective that we have to take on board. I mean, this woman she wasn't in it for grift. She had a little website. I think it's still going. I don't know if she's still alive, but the website's called Reflections in the Night. So actually, I'll put the website in the chat.
If they were using prepubescent females, then surely you could. I mean, like, it's not a particularly nice thing to talk or think about, but like, surely you would know still that there was genitalia there, and obviously, greys are described as having no genitalia. I mean, even if it's a prepubescent.
Well, no, not. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, well, if you looked at Roswell alien, he didn't have any genitalia, did he either? So it's not something that they've put that much. Yeah. But anyway, I'll just put that link in. I just think it's an interesting perspective, and it's just evidence. It's what we call data points, right? I like that expression, data points.
So they're trying to say sort of like
as much of it as you can, you know what I mean, and then figure out what's going on.
So they're trying to say, like, sort of like to deflect from tech advancements. They're trying to say, oh, it's aliens, it's not us, it's alien technology, it's not our technology.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that isn't a new point of view. Yeah, it's often been thought that it may just be a cover for secret technology. It makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, if you didn't want other governments or your own people to know what you had, you would just create this. I mean, it's like the thing with all those weird drones flying over America a few years ago. That was roundly considered to be Chinese tech, but no one was quite sure. But if the Chinese announced themselves and said, "Yeah, this is us. This is our technology. This is what we got," they didn't do that. Instead, there was just this uncertainty as to what it really was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, this is the website Reflections in the Night, and we've had a good show. And when are we going to be back?
Next Wednesday, do you reckon?
Yeah, we're going to aim for Wednesday. Wednesday's a pretty cool time to have it, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, half time in the week.
Yeah, half time. Yeah.
It's good for me.
Say 8 o'clock.
Sorry,
8 o'clock. Yeah.
8 o'clock's good. Yeah, 8 o'clock's good.
All right, brilliant. Okay, so anything you want to say before we say goodbye to everyone?
Well, I was never an alien. I can confirm that. So I was never a grey alien. So, in case anybody wondered, so
They never asked you, though. You know what I mean?
so just that's just I'd like to make that clear anyway, regardless of any questioning. So
Well, I don't think you have to make that. I think you've kind of rounded suspicion on yourself now because no one thought you were. But by saying that, it's like milady doth
But yeah,
confess too much.
I'm sort of like, yeah, exactly.
Now you're heaping suspicion on yourself. Actually,
Oh, you've caught me out, damn it. So I'm not about to prove whether I do
Leave
or
the
not.
cows alone, bro.
I'm not about to prove whether I do or do not have genitalia, though. So that's
All right, I think on that note.
yeah. On that
All right,
bombshell.
enjoy your dinner, eh?
But yeah, no, it's been really enjoyed the show today. Like, cheers everyone for listening. It's always great to get into a bit of UFO alien chat. You know, it's close to my heart and all that. So
It's pretty important stuff right now. It's pretty interesting stuff. I think
we could be.
it's on the back. It's on the back of everyone's mind, I think, isn't it? And I think it's pretty good stuff to talk about because it's interesting.
and it's really coming to the fore like never before, sort of thing. It really, we've never had such a sort of build up to apparent disclosure that we got now. So it's going to be an interesting rest of the year for sure, and we will be there. We will be there covering it all.
Yeah, because the last week, 10 days ago, I did a show about the moon landing. Not the landing, the moon flyby. That was interesting. It's something we'll have to talk about next time, but I don't quite believe that. I have my suspicions about that. So anyway,
We can get into that next time.
All right then, folks. So yeah, all right. Have a nice week. We nearly made it to the weekend, guys. So well done, everyone.
Yeah, we're nearly there, and it's a bank holiday if you're in the UK as well. So it's all good.
All right.
All right, guys. Take care then.
All the best, guys. Cheerio. See you next Wednesday. Right, Wednesday, 8
then.
p.m. We'll be here. Yeah. All right. See you.
Ciao.
Yeah.
Dutch pounds left.